teams necessarily going to be jousting up or going for a hard crash into them yet. Maybe Norway, who's kind of playing along the peninsula just over into their east. Malaysia, though, they've got Great Britain on one side of them, going to be making it a lot harder for them to kind of deal with, or United Kingdom. It always drives me insane that they use Great Britain as their letters, but then they're technically United Kingdom. Why do you do this to us?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that Great Britain is technically not the same as the United Kingdom.
I know! That's why I keep correcting myself.
But look, I escaped like 20 years ago
Vamos,
almost,
gente,
so it
vamos,
doesn't
gente.
matter to me.
Es argentino, vamos.
You can say whatever you like
Vamos,
to me,
vamos primero, dale.
Just can't say England. That's the one bad one. I know the rules.
Yeah, well, considering that a few of them are from Wales, well, anyway, we'll talk about that later. It's another topic for another time. We've got plenty of these teams to be looking at now.
All right, so Death Road's got a lot of attention over there with United Kingdom stacked over next to Malaysia. Of course, Ukraine's going to be a bit on the tail end of that. Nobody's up on Potato Mountain at the time. Other side of what's going to be going on Ukraine just to the west is going to be where Aussies are going to be hanging out at. They've got themselves split in the compound coming right out of that hillside, but of course, India's moved into Pachinki. They've got neutral right up next to them. And then Argentina's still finding some space over into the west. This is kind of calmed down for now, but new circles could be popping in just a couple of seconds. Make this a lot more chaotic.
Yeah, to give people a glimpse into India as well, obviously you don't get too much word from them and how they've been playing things out. They've been playing the EMEA scrims, and even on compounds north of Pachinki, they've been challenging teams like Yoga Benita, who are extremely aggressive in those early skirmishes as well, and kind of going 50-50 blow for blow for them in the scrims too. So this isn't exactly the pushover India that we've seen in the past, but they have been very cautious about kind of their approach up against Argentina, and I can respect that. It's mature gameplay.
All right, everybody has just jumped in vehicles and they've made a run. Pachinki's stayed inside the circle. Aussies are going to just crash right down into the trenches. Use this, they managed to get right in front of Turkey, who looked like they might have been eyeing a similar position. Norway's going to be wrapping back behind Turkey, who had eyes on Australia. Kazakhstan's going to be playing on the Pachinki hillside, kind of sharing it right now. Off to the west, they have a competition that they have to be worried about. Chinese Taipei is trying to come in right next to Argentina, who's running a wide split, and then Finland's got to come in from the north.
It's a toughie of a circle because there's so much field that still does exist in it, right? So taking those trenches is not too bad a spot to be able to kind of take up. And of course, on the east side of Pachinki, there is even those kind of war dug trenches. But of course, you got to remember, we still do have the pickaxe in play. We still have all those explosive in play. You can make your own trenches now in those fields, and it does make those fields a lot more dynamic.
Yeah, it also makes this hillside way stronger to play. There's some little bit of vulnerability. As you can see, Philippines already trying to use that. Chinese Taipei looks like they're just trying to squeeze in. They might be just going for a crash right into Pachinki, but the way that India is set up, this is going to be where their defensive line is already positioned. No options. They're being forced away. Monty's going to pick up one, and then it's just going to be running right into the other Aussies. Can they at least get a knock on it? No! Chinese Taipei is out.
Neutral está,
not too bad a steal from Translucent, so ball for India as well. Of course, is Translucent is a returning player here for the team, alongside Unforgiven for the second PNC after playing in PNC 2023. So good to see them back. Translucent now on the board. Alongside Ryzen here, who's, again, as you say, holding out this side of Pachinki in a pretty decent spot. So they might be able to get quite a couple of points off of this. As now Finland still scouting around up on the church position here. If they can move forwards onto church, they'd have quite a nice spot themselves. They're just looking to kind of like hold out those edge positions, because this Finnish team here, Matrim, as well, they are very well versed at playing ranked with each other, pubs with each other, even Finnish tournaments, as well as some Nordic tournaments. So I think that this is definitely a scary roster to go up against.
Are we going to get some geometry coming in? Looks like Tig's got the line in. Kazakhstan, nowhere to go. Philippines going to be able to kind of force them back to regroup on the hillside. CJ gets nice shots on IM5. That should be a flush. Can they manage to find it? Turkey, I think, starting to get a little bit nervous, realizing there's some problems. Smoke's going to come down, but doesn't look like it was close enough to be that scary yet.
I think Turkish roster here might have PTSD against some mortar fire. Because in PGSs, they were dying to it quite a bit on like teams like S2G, etc. and stuff. So got to be careful about that. Ferris starts things off against Malaysia, though, up on this east side of the circle, knowing that they're playing edge. Actually, Malaysia's backfilling this position. They could get a little bit bitten here, but I think Ukraine should be okay in responding to it. Actually, no, he's parachuting in. Okay, so that's kind of reinforcing.
You know, it's just going to be on the setup of angles. Ukraine now starting to just feast over here. Malaysia has nowhere to go. This is firmly entrapped. It's just running right down into the United Kingdom or dealing with Ukraine.
Canadá se fue eliminado.
Lawrence going to go ahead and get some victories out of that for himself. And where else do you go? Just make a run for it. And no, can't even land in Pachinki.
I'm hoping Malaysia can do something here throughout the survival stage as well. Shen obviously being the absolute star of that roster. And then alongside him, just a great team of R8 as a core, right? That have been able to qualify through
chicos, acá estamos, vamos.
Vega
Pipa, dale.
So we'll see though. That's not exactly the best start from them. Coming in on the edge against Ukraine. What are you going to do, man?
Yeah, I mean, you're moving down into an open field with Ukraine that's now firmly encroached you on both sides. You were just trapped over there. And Malaysia did kind of put themselves over there, but they were in the hunt for going on to kills. Looked like they were trying to harass what was going on with the United Kingdom. There are still a couple moving factors that are going to be moving into this a bit more vulnerable. Most notably, it is going to be Norway having to deal with Japan pretty close, as well as the Philippines trying to sneak their way in, but they do have Pachinki Hillside to work with.
Can we get a closer zoom in on Hakatori, please, there? That would be... Just enhance, all right? Like, you can see his paws and everything. But no, it's a good start here from Ukraine. The thing is as well, though, for Ukraine, is that as much as it's a good start, it's a little bit difficult oftentimes to actually get off of this hillside if you want to go straight west. So that's why we're probably going to see them go for this wide ramp south to try and, well, take fights and then just find themselves a bit of a better entry point. The problem is that there is teams here. Norway's here trying to find themselves a bit of a better entry point. The problem is that
this is Ukraine's strategy. Just shoot and destroy everything. This has got such high firepower. They're like, just play edge. Wrap. Okay, we can't go west. We'll just try to kill anything. But it does look like United Kingdom has realized there's an opportunity. They are starting to maneuver over into point to see if maybe they can go after Ukraine. But Ukraine just takes down Norway so fast.
Boostic ain't gonna miss those nades. Oh, what? Hakatori, hello? Okay, well, that was as quick as anything there. A little bit disappointed. Wait, they're actually jumping on that at Ukraine. That's a crazy maneuver, but it actually just might work out, knowing that they're very separated. But at the same time, Philippines here going up against Japan, knowing that all of these teams on the south side have to make a big move, and Japan is getting destroyed.
Yeah, Japan wanted to get away from Ukraine real bad, and that just put them into another problem. Crossfire down in the low section of a valley. Philippines does have one of their players go down, should be resible. It's just a matter of how much do Ukraine want to continue running. The circle pulls over into the field. That is going to be problematic for Pachinki.
Yes, it is. Ukraine's not stopping either. They get more knocks on the boys as they're trying to find themselves a position. If I'm Ukraine at this point, I want to clear out the south side, but at the same time, eyeing up the position of Great Britain to try and wrestle that away and use that as a linchpin for maybe a win here for Ukraine to start off this survival stage would be huge. At the same time, Matrim, the teams in Pachinki might have a bit of a hard time about transitioning between some of these buildings. I suppose Denmark's probably quite happy on the south tip of Pachinki, though.
Yeah, I like this coming up from Finland, realizing that Pachinki is just it's too hot. Too many people over there. You just try to gotta get out. But where do you go? There's just firing lines everywhere, just trying to get over to a field, which is going to be entirely open. They're getting picked apart. Neutral just has such a good angle onto it, but at least they managed to find a dip. Is he fine? Is he fine? I think he's fine.
I think he's fine. Sato, get out of there. Get back into the dip as quickly as possible. That's it, though. Nade's going to be going in. Some of these cars could actually catch them as well. They've got to be very careful about this. They lost IEXE as well as Trexie. Scav is now down as well, thanks to a beaming nade. It's all on Sato to do something about this here on this dip. So he survives, but it is really a game for placement points now for Sato more than anything.
Where do you go? Kazakhstan's trying to regroup right along the road line here, get some distance away from Australia. Turkey, remember, they've been harassed for a while. Aussie's starting to come alive. Easy nade toss just to drop them right on top of Kazakhstan, and there is nowhere to go. Remember, Ukraine still has a hillside and is throwing bullets over into this direction. There is nowhere for Kazakhstan to go except for just hunker down onto this position, and does anybody else want to go after?
Nice mortar shot from the Philippines to be able to take down a position there for Turkey. Maybe they can use that as an opportunity to leapfrog forwards a little bit from this south side, because now they're still eyeing up these spots as well. They see the smokes down, they see some of the deployable cover as well. Philippines 6 kills to get things going, and nades forwards against Turkey. This could be a great staging point for them on the south side.
They've just got to be careful. They're playing great position right now. The way that these two hill sites kind of come in gives them a great defensive position to play for the time being, but as they're not going to move more into the open, it's a big problem. Kazakhstan's just a little bit ahead of them, and you can see what they're having to deal with right now. So Philippines has to firefight their way through what's going to be Turkey, Australia, and the remnants of Kazakhstan, but it's coming up big enough. Hey, they're going to get knock on a shiller.
Never mind mortars, just ordnance experts entirely.
Argentina sigue pushando a Turquía, Argentina está pushando a India, el último que queda de
India. Feels like this fight was broiling since minute 1, and now we're back with it. Translucent down, Captain finishing that off, and Kazakhstan is gone completely thanks to Tiggleton laying in some mortar shots as well. That trench has been great for them. We'll just see if they get the circle shift next up.
Denmark's positioning is very aggressive. This full split around inside of Pachinki, this is saying we think that we can just firefight everybody that's going to be walking through and we can take you down. Neutral is trying to move over into the east, make it a bit more complicated. But Denmark's mostly focused on what's going on with this Argentina-India still situation.
Argentina contra India.
Good old Unforgiven still staying alive.
Argentina primero,
96%. Right into a kill box of multiple teams.
All right, a prediction on what actual fights could occur from here as well. I mean, yeah, Argentina and India, yeah, we'll take it. I think every Erangel, unless somebody really wants to pivot away from what is going on in Boatyard as well as Rozhok.
Quedaron en la trampa, dale.
City before, because every fiber of me, Matron, wants to call it Atlantis, because there's like 6 names for it, even though it's now Boatyard.
Saben que está ahí,
Yeah, I know, it's like, there's so many
bad names. Vaqueo India está tomando posición. Ah, mira cómo lo esperó.
Of, just things that were going on. That was bad jokes.
Aprovechó, mira.
No,
aprovechó.
All right. Denmark time to come alive as poor old Unforgiven is just trying to fight for his life over here. Can Denmark use the opportunity that he has provided to jump onto Argentina?
El capitán, Argentina se puso tercero. Vamos. Le quedan 2 jugadores a Argentina.
Nade goes forwards from T-Bone of all people against Fairist. So not too bad a start here to
Vamos, revivan al tercero. Vamos, chicos.
from being more aggressive on here, but I don't think it's going to work. I think that they are going to continue on this line of thinking completely.
Otro más Argentina.
Takes down Captain. They've been keeping a strong eye on this fight, as you mentioned
vamos,
before.
Chicos.
To being able to shut this down and then take a fight afterwards, wherever they may need to go, is much smarter than anything else. You've got to shut down those teams backfilling you.
This is all just defense right now, and they have to be careful because, again, there is still neutral just playing off to their east. They know it, but Gustav's just doing everything that he can, secure every point, stacking up the kills right now. Argentina just down to 1, about to get that res onto Capitan, but blue zone on top of him, and Denmark is staying focused on this. They're not retreating back into the safe zone. They want to make sure that they clear out anything from Argentina before they set up for anything to deal with neutral.
Definitely a toughie of a circle to start off PNC, but at the same time, I suspect we're going to have much harder circles throughout this tournament.
Dale.
Everyone kind of, sometimes expects fields endings and things like that, but we are definitely going towards those fields, and eventually a team like Denmark, unless they get crazy hard shifts, will have to move into those fields. So at this point, get as many kills as you can on this defensive setup, and then from there, see what happens.
No surprise, DraftKings probably just going to surrender it over to the blue zone.
Argentina le apretó la zona.
Set up more in their defense for neutral. Neutral has managed to get very close to the safe zone, but they are going to be walking into a couple of areas where they could have some cover. Looks like Denmark's already the circle still has Great Britain over into the east with Ukraine just to the south of them. Turkey's still got a player up right in the middle of it all, and there goes Argentina as he actually doesn't surrender it over the blue zone. Denmark thanks him for it.
Yeah, into the placement points to get things rolling now. So it will start stacking up. And that circle, oh my. Okay, so anybody on the west side, good luck to you. Now, the crazy thing, I think, for Australia is that as much as they've survived long into this game, getting your cars out of there without being shot and then making a transition will be very difficult for them of all teams on that west side.
And this is all going to come down to timing because Denmark's kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with Australia. They know that they've got neutral back behind them. Neutral has to deal with Denmark in the closer range threat. Philippines is going to be on the other side of Australia, so it's a little bit of a game of chicken right now about who's going to go first and how the timings of this is all going to play out. Technically, the longer that neutral survives opens up more of an opportunity for a firefight between Australia as well as the Philippines to break out, but no big commitment happening just quite yet, as it is pretty much 2 contained arenas where these different squads are kind of fighting it out.
Neutral trying their best to slow down Denmark. Shots come in though from Michael from the distance, so that will dissuade
Argentina quedó tercero. Hasta ahora va tercero Argentina. Vamos a ver si puedes obtener los puntos. Yo creo que no, pero bueno.
Some of those could have easily been headshots. As a Molotov will go through from Mixon, but doesn't quite connect. So Aduzi will live to fight another day. Now
Australia está quinto.
Australia has moved out of that trench line, tried to
Ucrania
create
primero.
as well to move into, so they've got a little bit of cover against the Philippines, but a P90 in hand.
Vamos, chicos,
There's just nowhere for the Philippines to go either. Denmark is using this opportunity to position to catch whoever moves out of this next. Aussies are trying to use the high ground, but it is all going to be about the firepower that the Philippines can manage to pump out. Good shots going to come out from Gustav to get the knock on to Monty, and Australia's crossfire problems are going to continue. This setup from the Philippines is good enough to force a line right up on top of Denmark, and Australia just has to firefight their way through it. Remember, they've been loud for so long. They've pissed off so many teams.
Están bombardeando con todo Filipinas. Están pushando a Australia. Está en el medio, quedó en el medio. No, lo mató el compañero. Mató el Taishan mató al compañero. Mató al compañero.
So not bad by Denmark to try and get out of that spot, but Philippines, man, they come out as the winner on the West.
Limping into the circle right now, two players up, but they at least have space away from Ukraine.
Argentina quedó quinto, Neutral quedó cuarto.
Everything over into the east, so full-on control coming up from them. Now it's just going to be about the solo in Turkey hiding up in the middle of it all. Denmark still got Beamy alive and Levante trying to creep his way in, but this is going to be... I don't even know how you could try to survive this. There's so many people focused in. Ukraine's even got vision on the other side. Yep, just surrendered over. No. Now we're in our top four.
Yeah, as much as technically there are two members of Ukraine outside this circle, the fact that Ukraine is starting off this strong, it's almost like the harbinger of doom. Oh, but Beamy, good shutdown here from the Philippines.
Beamy
11 kills go the way of Denmark so far. Despite getting out of Pachinki, it was going to be difficult. They've done well for it. But again, Matrim, the bell is tolling. Ukraine is 4 alive and looking devastating.
11 kills right now. Control over the circle. Yeah, they're not really in it like you were talking about. There's not a lot of circle to really be in. It's just all open field with like that one compound where Celtic is kind of hanging out at, going every single time he goes for a peek, just getting punished. It's him and Beamy versus the Ukrainian defense line over into the east, and I don't even know what you do. There's every peak that's punished. Diffec's gonna take down BB, and then there was one.
He has a Lynx. I didn't even know he had a Lynx. Oh no.
Ucrania tiene el equipo completo. Uno de Turquía y uno de los 4 de Ucrania. Lo pushean. Ah, no, Ucrania. Primera partida de Ucrania.
Ukraine 23 points to start off PNC survival stage, and everybody else better.
Primera partida de Ucrania.
Let's bring back in Gibson and Mark to talk about this game here, because Gibson, this looked
Primera partida de Ucrania, chicos.
Yeah, we were watching that one. They got a great drop at the start. The circle suited them. And then we saw that push on that eastern side. And I think we both said it. UK were in trouble. That's what happened. Ukraine take the win. And Mark, what can we say? But Hakatori, he's just a difference maker.
I think those big decision makers, right? And Fex moving out of the compound to go play onto Ukraine. Some people will see that as a good play. Some will see it as a sort of negative. I think it was the right thing to do.
Australia, Argentina. Canadá fue el primer eliminado. Argentina al principio tenía dominado la partida. Iba primero. Y Argentina acá, India lo terminó pushando y se metió Dinamarca. Dinamarca también aprovechó ahí también la jugada.
I knew that Ukraine was going to be strong, but this is next level. It's just absolutely brutal.
Ahí yo calculo que ahí fue letal eso. Más jugar con zona sabiendo que te están esperando del otro lado. Va a tener que meter otra estrategia, chicos.
You only did it because we'd already picked them all. I'm so sorry. You wanted to be different. I get it. That's okay.
Aussies did okay. They did okay.
They did do okay. They survived. As we take a look now at those final moments as well, and Ukraine looking phenomenal with it. Now, one thing that's interesting as well is, Mark, you get to these situations normally with a field ending. I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be a lot of solos tonight. There's going to be a lot of goals and everything like that. Not the case at all in this game. Not at all.
Now, we saw obviously Turkey moving on that south side, right? And obviously with Tiggleton being close, the Mortar coming it didn't quite work out. But at that point, they sort of spread out. And I was sitting there talking to Gibson. I was like, we're going to see a team crash central. We're going to see a team crash into the field because that's the only thing that they can actually take, right? But it didn't quite happen. Kazakhstan came in that southwest corner. They couldn't quite extend their way close enough to it, and they stopped. And then that sort of west side was just chaotic. Actually, for Celtic, he paid really early, kept his head down, and put himself in second place.
Yeah, it's no kills go his way. But we'll take it for Turkey, I guess.
Yeah, look, they were on my team. They got a couple of points on the board for that second place, and what can you do, right? You send Celtic into the tower, and his job is to hold that and try and get as many placement points as he can. The rest of the team got obliterated a little further south. So, hey, at the end of the day, in 10 maps, if you can just manage to eke out placement points, you never know. They could find themselves in that top 8.
Yeah, and Matrim, of course, a huge result for Team Denmark, and I'm conflicted. I want to see. I love the team. I love the players on Team Denmark. That coach, though, don't know about him, to be honest with you.
Oh, come on. Are you saying that there is no world where I'm believing that is a Martin strategy? I'm just letting you know right now. Those guys are putting in all the work and all the coaching, and he is just there giving the best of back rubs because, boy, he gives good back rubs.
Yes, I guess so. I guess you're right. And at the same time, massaging the lobby into submission is, of course, Ukraine, as Diffx takes 5 alongside the 3-3 and 2 here from the rest of the lads. So if there was any concern, I guess there's no concern whatsoever. But man of the match, stolen away by Beamy, Mark.
Swaying, mate. He's looking into my soul right now. But no, we saw some early kills from him, and you guys made the call during the cast. It was definitely a kill feed read. You saw them chase down, obviously, from Team Canada. And they're in the right positions. They're holding teams out. They moved into the town, and obviously, they were looking to try and get the kills. It was actually Beamy that made the play closest to that west side field. So even just, I know he's a big killer, but looking at the kind of little bits that he plays out, he understands that they want to be the last team there. And the first team, obviously, has to work from that position is going to be key because they have to take on the Philippines, they have to take on Team Australia that we're looking to try and come out the trenches.
Yeah, I think for someone like Beamy, of course, as we take a look at the points coming in, it's 23 points for Ukraine, 16 going for him. Martin has just messaged me saying Beamy is just him. Okay, all right, thanks, Martin. Back to your coaching. Get away from me. But Gibson, I think that, you know, when you look at someone like Beamy, right, of course, with the pedigree that he's got now on Virtus Pro, just a deadly, deadly player that is looking to become basically world champion, never mind PNC champion.
Yeah, it just shows what he can do when he's not sitting in the blue metting, right? Beamy's insane. And honestly, I think that there was more points in that game for them had it not been for the third party from Team UK, right? That third party right at the end when they were fighting against neutral, it caused them so many problems. But look, for Team Denmark, it's a really good start. You know what? If they keep that up, do you see maybe Martin subbing himself in for that last map to give himself some love?
100%.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, no, get Martin in there. I'm sure he will be the perfect bait, actually, to lure teams into a false sense of security.
Don't do it, lads.
Well, this is true. A lot of players might want to kill him just because. So, I mean, if you could send him off on the side and let him do whatever, that'll set him up.
That is true, because every time I see pros streaming and they see, like, Martin in their games, they're like, get Martin, kill, it's Martin, knock him, knock him. I've seen it so many times on streams, it's crazy. But anyway, let's talk about actual serious things, as we got Team Australia, who Mark actually sent it to what could have been quite a strong spot if the circle comes their way. It's just difficult once you get those E-shifts, and how are you trying to get out of that trench over across the road as well?
Yeah, they were relying on that west shift, right? And it was good play for them, early play. They held off, especially the second crash that came in, the mortar fire. And again, it was that kind of dart out from that west. So unlucky when it came down to the zone, but really good to see Team Australia, which, you know, they've got fans out there, which will be cheering them on, actually putting them in position to win. So chaotic team can cause chaos actually from that west region. It just didn't go their way.
And Gibson, faith in Argentina? I mean, they really wanted to hunt down India there.
Yeah, it's what I was told. A few people from different teams said watch for Argentina dropping on India, looking for the 3 points. And I'm going to give a credit to India. They took them on a wild goose hunt, right? They couldn't get anywhere near them. I think in the end it was Canada that they ended up getting points off on that rotate. But I feel like for Argentina, yes, it's nice to try go for 4 points, but you talked about it on the cast. If you spend far too long hunting down those 4 kills, especially now with the fact that the zones have changed in the timings, it can really put you at a disadvantage getting later into the game.
Yeah, especially a toughie considering that Pachinki's in, fields are in. Okay, if you're late, oftentimes there is an onus matchroom on saying, okay, well, let's just crash into Pachinki, see what works there. Obviously, Finland didn't do that. They went around it as well. But for Argentina, they were keen to go for it, and eventually you get caught by what was the Denmark hold.
Yeah, and whenever we look at Argentina, this is a squad that has a lot of expectations to qualify. They think that they should easily be in the top 8 moving into this. No surprise on that one. I do like the fact that Argentina is coming in aggressive, though. They're coming in with game plans, strategies. They're wanting to try to starting to assert a lot of authority into the game very early. Sure, that does mean that they're bullying a couple of squads that are trying to find footing, but that's what you got to do. If this is all about competition at the end of the day, it's not about making friends, and they're coming out with specific goals, and they did end up pretty decent on points at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think if you look at the current makeup of this PNC, if Brazil is in top 8, right, Argentina has a very similar pedigree, Gibson. They're going to be able to potentially challenge those kinds of positions, because you think about that region as a whole, they play with each other a lot, and they're mixed up in all those teams as well. So I think Argentina's got some good chances.
Yeah, they really do. Look at last year. I think them and Brazil won a bunch of maps over the course of the previous PNC, and you speak about Brazil. That rivalry between those two countries as well, like, yes, they're both South American, but there is a rivalry. Like, if Argentina see Brazil take a knock and they're beside them, they're third party without a hesitation, and I think that can maybe hurt them a few times as well. You know, wanting to hurt your rivals so much can actually impact your own chances, but good start for Argentina, points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, rivals, right? You've got teams like Neutral, who had a bit of a tougher time in this game, Mark. They kind of fell victim to the, okay, we're in Pachinki and now we have to try and skirt around the edges, which, to be fair, Levante actually did a pretty darn good job of putting in the boot against Denmark towards the end. But there's only so much you can do, I think, trying to make the transitions later on in that game.
Well, it's one of those things, right? It's always well known that you only commit to a city if you know it's going to end there. I think Neutral didn't really have much options. They went there. Denmark already had the hold, but Levante, we know he's a powerhouse, right? He's always going to dig deep and actually get some points. Like, he did get caught out by the zone, but he caused so much damage actually for Denmark being able to exit, which I think kind of put their game plan in the back. Because remember, Beanie went really early. Beanie at that point assumed that Denmark were coming out and they were the first team to then try and hold off the Philippines and Team Australia coming in. And actually for them, it was Levante that underpinned their game plan.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm getting word that we have just a small delay before we actually get into our next game here. I was thinking to myself, Matrim, you know, obviously with the World Cup going on, we heard a lot of chants from some of these fans of teams. Like America's, of course, had an amazing chant. We believe that we will win. Just, you know, top tier stuff, Matrim. Do you have any chants that you...
Yeah, of course. You come to the American asking them. No, I can't make any of the chants because I was more on the side of what, I'll be honest, the European chants about America, way better in my opinion, but we can't get into the nitty gritty on what a lot of those were about.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any
Primera
chance
frase
for
ganó
your
Ucrania
specific
nomás.
teams, or you think anything along those lines? Because like I'm guessing some Aussies probably have some good ones.
Well,
I can't speak to those, but they're probably cuss words related.
Yeah, they've got a really good one currently at the World Cup, but yeah, we can't say that one. The problem is being British.
Y Argentina va a depender totalmente. Si no lo ve a Brasil, va a ser un buen golpe.
We haven't got anything we can put on production. I can tell you
Argentina y Brasil tienen que pasar. Por lo menos tiene uno de Latinoamérica, si no.
We just have to do the Netherlands dance. That's the only thing we can do, right?
Oh, the sideways thing. Yeah.
Está difícil el torneo este, Es para cualquiera.
I got taught a chant at PNC last year by the Norwegians in Norwegian. It's
Ucrania,
not stream safe, but
no le tenía fe a Ucrania yo y Ucrania está.
So hey, it was a lot of fun. I actually wonder, Mark, maybe you might know, did any of the Norwegians make their way to Korea this year? Because they gave me this.
There are some there.
They gave me this last year. Yeah, look.
Vamos a tirar un par de banderitas para que sepan que estamos acá.
Reindeer.
Little moose.
Yeah,
reindeer. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a reindeer.
Oh, okay. I've not seen a reindeer in real life. I saw a moose though when I lived in Finland, and let me tell you, that thing was ginormous. Right? I ain't going anywhere near those moose. They're big. All right. So. Anyway, we'll see if Norway can make something happen as well off on the other side of things.
Finlandia,
They
no
had a bit of
sé.
a harder time here, Mark, of course, kind of getting caught off on the south side because they got stuck in the bulldozer that was Ukraine down on the south side.
I think bulldozer is an understatement, right? They were one of the. I think they were the alarming team once they got wiped.
Bueno, Argentina había quedado primero.
I mean, anything to do with it. You got to look at that position.
Lo empezó a apoyar a India y se metió Turquía. Empezó a aprovechar ahí Turquía. Que Argentina también lo estaba pisando un poco la zona y
you've got Team Ukraine to sort of point direction, and they were the next target. And the fact
aguantó Argentina. Aguantó, pero quedó en el quinto puesto.
The fact that he was getting knocked, he spins round and gets Vex, who's trying to get the third party on this, is insane. I think, though, that positioning from Ukraine is going to set the stance. People are going to avoid them. And the question is, who's going to try and stand up and stop it? Because if they take so many points away, when we look at that cutoff line, it's going to become pretty close.
Yeah, it's a funny one having that M16 actually, because then the knock after you see, and he has a mini in hand, right? So I think that the Ukraine drop is an interesting one on Erangel, because I feel like they know, okay, yeah, we're very used to this drop, of course. We're going to go here. We're going to have whatever loot we can have. But with a circle like that, you're not moving far. So your loot is a little bit thin compared to, you know, what you would need, and you need those knocks to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, just a good setup off the go. They're already getting you in position to kind of maneuver for it. But, I mean, it looks like we're ready to go to the next one.
We are. All right, let's do it. Thank you very much for your patience, guys, as you've listened to the PNC podcast here from us. It's time to give Gibson and Mark the reins here as we get to game number 2.
Segunda partida, vamos.
We're going to Miramar for the second map of the day, where Ukraine will just look to increase that lead they got in game number 1 straight off the bat. But the flight path, Mark, really player friendly, going from that northeast down to the southwest, just slightly north of Picado.
Manía San Martín, seguro.
Yeah, just through that kind of Death Valleys in the southwest, at El Pozo, we get lots of zones.
Vamos a estar los muchachos.
Look at the hot drop map. I think we get too many clashes, apart from obviously the one which we'd indicated earlier, Argentina potentially going after Team India. This time they've not hot dropped them here, Gibson, but they're in a position that actually they could get looted and apply pressure, or hold them out if the zone goes down towards that southwest side.
Yeah, 100%. They're on the ground early too, which with I think in the new way that the PUBG's played with the zones, those early flight drops are going to be a massive boost as well, because you can get all your loot, you can get on the move by the time that phase 1 circle starts closing in. But when you look at the map, Mark, it's Canada have dropped all the way down on the very southern side of the map by Valle del Mar, and there is nobody anywhere
Japón ya se está haciendo sentir. Ya le disparó a Filipinas.
Turkey. So again, a couple of teams going late here, which is not expected, especially when we look at obviously when the team sometimes plan to go, but Flight Plan obviously has an option for that. Zone does shift. It is pretty much in the middle. We do push towards that El Pozo. A little bit of unplayable on that west, but for our neutral, they're sitting in the middle. They are taking the lead from Battalions.
Bueno, Argentina está ahí nomás de la zona.
Yeah, but look at the drop they have. Like, they're in a great
Tiene
spot
Japón cerca, ojo.
And then keep an eye for them to maybe catch Australia as they rotate in, but you'd expect with Tiggleton on the team that moving from
Hay uno de Filipinas solo. ¿Está jugando uno de Filipinas solo?
But I'm looking towards the edge, right? You've got so many teams on that western or eastern side of the circle. Kazakhstan, Ukraine, UK, and Malaysia. And a team with a
todos busteados menos uno de Filipinas. Me parece que el de Filipinas, el último, quedó solo. Ucrania tiene sus 23 puntos. Argentina tiene 7 puntos. Quedó sexto. Lo pasó, al final lo terminó pasando neutral.
I think he was going for the dropping the cart taken away by Argentina. So he's had to force his way back into the middle, arguably to some safety, as they would have maybe expected that team sort of playing towards that south. Obviously, we've had major resets, we had some changes here. Twisted Minds obviously coming to light, but Battalions is such a big name, and more importantly, a big brain when it comes down to this, because he's the one making a lot of these calls and shots and directing the team into the right positions.
Oh, when I think of this map, Battalions is the first player that comes to mind. I'm not going to lie. Remember, he used to get himself up on top of that hill where you see kind of Finland and Corexi playing, overlooking Midi-Milli. But we watch Malaysia as they rotate in. I actually think Malaysia are a fun team to watch, right? Shen, AJ, you got Empton there as well. They actually have real pop-off moments. Like, I think when you get into the final lobby, it'll be a little bit different. But Malaysia, they're a fun team to watch, Mark.
Yeah, they're an unknown entity in the context. They might apply pressure and push, or they have the hold capabilities. It looks like they're making a play to sort of the south side of San Martino. They're taking some high ground here. Shen most will go up and take some more high ground and get a little bit more information and intel.
Malaysia.
Look across the other side, look further into the play where Denmark is now going. So good position, early rotation from them. A lot of these teams now getting set up.
Yeah, and then elsewhere, you got Canada. They've not made their way in from that southern side of the map yet. India still looting up by Campo Militar. So some teams waiting and just letting the rest of the lobby kind of move in, and then they'll fill the outer edges of that circle. As Tig is going to just try to parkour his way up on top of this high ground, and that'll give him wonderful lines of sight. You know, looking towards Ukraine, looking towards neutral. Like, if he can stick the landing, he'll get lots of. Yeah, he needs to do leg day, more leg day.
I love that the Observer's sticking.
There we go.
There we go. We knew he was going to get it. The Observer believed in Tig and he finds his way up. Back to Canada very quickly. Adam has made his way very quickly.
TGL está tomando altura. Uno de los mejores jugadores de PUBG.
It gives them a little bit more extra time there, Gibson, to be able to like try and loot, make sure they get what they need. I wouldn't be surprised for Canada, especially they're coming on this sort of south side, to try and find that
Filipina
kind of
también está haciendo lo mismo, está tomando altura. Están farmeados.
I think they might be one of the early teams to look to get airborne.
I'm enjoying watching this new PUBG platformer game we're getting to watch, seeing all the climbing and the jumping by these players as they try to get themselves up on the high ground. You've got Malaysia.
Pusheando a Malasia, Filipina está pusheando a Malasia.
Plant here is, I think Aduzi's already gone past, but Tulins is making his way around that now, just feeding the information about the fact that Malaysia are in place. But it's starting to get very hot.
Japón está pusheando uno de India, no lo vio.
Philippines, neutral, Finland, Argentina, Denmark, all within kind of touching distance of each other already.
I'm so intrigued as to why Argentina, because Spectrum as well, like they were looking to go aggressive against Team India. They've done it on game number 1. Why are they not doing it here? We'll talk about the level of aggression. Has the Panzer, here's the cards. If you need a win, you need to get a
Claro, Argentina tenía el primer puesto.
says motto to the Finns.
Se lo arrebató Dinamarca.
But he's going to get taken down by Sata. He'll get one on the board, and that is an easy pickup for them.
Cuando puso India.
Thought about coming in, but having seen his teammate deleted so quickly, he's just going to fall back to the rest of the team. But you know what? For the Philippines, it's a point on the board. It's translucent.
Bien, India puso a Japón.
He was ready to take the fight, but Team Japan sent it straight away through Oasis. The game plan didn't meet up, and for Team India, they get another point on the board.
Hey, you know what? They're 9th in the leaderboard after a few minutes in the second map. It's not going too badly for them at all, but Translucent, he'll say thank you very much for that one. Go pick up some loot, and now
India lo está sacando corriendo a Japón.
Really looking to get some points on the board, and Feven will just move.
Está diciendo que el territorio de él.
This is a level of aggression that we didn't see, Mark, from last year's India roster.
No, but remember, it's a slight different change.
Territorio es mío, decirle.
Pre-show, we have seen him a lot in the EMEA scrims, and they've been doing okay. So I've been trying to figure out kind of that pacing, because I feel like the year before it was about the pacing. It didn't get
en Ucrania se cruzó con Australia.
Down, Diffix though goes up, and his team Australia will fall. Oh, he gets shot in the back. Luke 12 sticks.
Luke lo mató.
Yeah, good news for the rest of the lobby as Ukraine will lose one. Diffix is going to fall, and Luke will confirm that one out. Bustic with the nade in the hands, going to try toss it through that letterbox window, looking to catch another one, but Bustic all by himself. All he's got to do, Mark, is stay alive until the rest of Navi can get here.
Ando contra 2.
Yeah, but everybody's going to get me.
No lo revivieron.
It's the cutter as well. Luke 12, he uses the smoke. That's going to be a bit distraction as he doesn't move his way forward. Looks to find himself in a
position está defendiendo su posición.
He's on the high ground. Can Hakatori find safety? Does find safety behind the car.
Yeah, Tig's got to be quick though, because he's got to help his team before he can fall. But Ferris will confirm out flood now. Luke 12 getting in the fight, and Hakatori is in that fight. Luke 12 takes it. Ferris gets up.
Cayó Luke.
They are pushing. I love it. They're applying pressure to Team Ukraine, but they are a breed above arrest. Here comes another rotation. Comes in Malaysia on the defense. They have to try and find that reposition. No, Shen did take that high ground, so he's got all the information that's needed. MT though has the opportunity now to back away.
Yeah, he's gone. He is out of there as Shen tries to get the off angle on the Verster. Wants to get the point on the board confirmed, but I feel like might just be the signal to get on out of dodge. Live to fight another day in this one as Malaysia. They'll manage to keep all 4 players up. Fairest will confirm out that kill now on to Monty, but Ukraine and Australia still going head-to-head over by that bowl.
TN está ahí,
Australia. He's on the holds. Ukraine know he's the last one. Obviously got the rig because they've wiped the rest of the team. But he is on the high ground. Not an easy push.
Y Argentina también está al lado de Dinamarca otra vez,
deliver a headshot. Well, they deliver.
Aprovechen la tormenta, muchachos. TGN todavía sigue pushando a Ucrania.
Yeah, and watch for Ukraine trying to pick up that blue chip and try to get all 4 players back and alive in the fight. They do have a few stations not too far away that they can utilize. The closest one being just a little north of their position. As we have a look at the next engagement that is likely to happen.
Sí, Filipina
says Malaysia and neutral.
Está peleando con Argentina.
Probably going to be the next team to
Argentina
go
se pone atrás de Filipina.
Looking at the map, I think the neutral are just going to keep on rotating in at
De
this
Finlandia,
point.
se pone atrás de Finlandia, Argentina.
Malaysia stops because I know the team neutral's in front of him, and I see Denmark comes in behind him. Sheno exchanges great shot. Gustav, he's down to one more hit, but no, he finds safety in the dip. Still his Miramar.
Dinamarca zafó el
He's going
tiroteo.
to keep on going now. Is Gustav, of course, playing now in the North Americas region. Will try to get a first aid off as Ketter will join him alongside Mixon as well. CJ sending some 7.62 rounds off in the distance just to keep them moving on their merry way. Remember, AF fell in that fight with Finland a little earlier on.
Vamos muchachos, que estamos acá,
Canada, though, Mark, they've
Vamos,
got
dale,
themselves
dale.
right inside Monte Nuevo now, and very close to the center of the circle. Really good rotating from them over by that western side.
I'm just worried about their 2-2 split.
Yeah.
They kind of got 2 in that corner of Monty, but they've taken 2 north, K minus Shimboy. They're holding that kind of higher ground towards that north, overlooking, it's like I still call it the face compound that Team Turkey sitting in. Good spot if they can try and defend it. But again, you think of this, we've got 16 teams store up, 58 players, and we're going to be fighting for these areas. These are kind of key areas these teams.
Again, 16 equipos, 16 equipos, 58 personas.
As well that it can peek up from and provide him a little bit of safety. And
Vamos,
I think that
vamos,
the
muchachos,
pickaxe,
vamos,
right,
muchachos.
as much as it's made it really easy for
Dale,
teams to
dale.
make defensible positions, something
Dale,
we saw
Kid.
a lot of market
Dale, amigo.
BGSs where, well, if you dig a bowl,
Tranquilo,
and
fue
someone
tranquilo,
tosses a
dale.
nade,
Fue
gravity's gonna
tranquilo,
do
dale.
a lot of the rest of the work, right,
Fue
and
tranquilo,
bring
dale, que acá
that
estamos
nade
nosotros, dale.
right where it needs to go as we look at maybe some of the suggested rotates that some of these teams might just make inside
Dale,
the
capitán.
circle. Mark,
that
Turkey
me on
again.
paint?
Yeah, Turkey again, train center.
What's that mean on paint? I like the predicted rotations. Powered by Craft and AI, so thank you very much. You know, pretty much on the money. What these teams are looking to do are sort of rotations on their way in. There'll be some more engagement this time. Philippines sees Denmark over the top, has to get the information out towards that east side, but they come back. Ketter with the bolty in hand. You don't want to overpeak him because he might put you down in the dust.
Yeah, you always talk about it. I think when we were away recently, you actually said to Ketter you think he's one of the best bolty players in the world, if not the best. But Alec, he's got a bad idea. Ketter's going to run over his teammate CJ. We'll find Mixon and the Philippines putting in the work on the Danes. Not so great for them right now, as Mixon will probably be the next one to fall. And, well, what do you do now if you're Denmark? Do you try to bring the fight to the 3 members of the Philippines, or with another player going down, do you just back off now and try to live to fight another day?
The zone obviously pulls back their way. I've got to think, might be the best bolty, maybe not the best driver.
Ya no tiene casco este,
Catastrophic.
Casi le parten el casco, un tiro más le parte el casco.
Denmark, they have to now try and hold, but arguably they have to hold the Philippines.
Dinamarca está muy apretado. Filipinas lo tiene ahí,
No
lo deja pasar. Filipinas va a tener que buscar lo está rotando, pero se le viene.
Fun fact, by the way, Beamy apparently is a heavy
Se van a
scorer.
cruzar con Finlandia.
Fun fact for the viewers at home, last year at PNC,
Finlandia ya tomó
there was
posiciones.
a bunch of Koreans with Beamy signs.
¿Qué onda?
The Korean
Quedaste en el
fans
medio.
adore Beamy. Like, he was the only player that I saw signs for in the venue.
Va a tener que hacer algo. Va a tener que hacer algo Filipinas porque si no queda fuera.
An entourage of people that were chasing him down. The entourage at the moment seems to be Philippines, as they do see Finland as they take the compound, and it does give the opportunity now for Denmark to move away, but
Neutral.
towards the defensive line, the dug trenches from Team Neutral.
Yeah, but
Neutral se está sabiendo que están entrando en territorio.
Denmark have taken a beating already. Beamy and Ketter, the last 2 players standing as they continue to lose.
Dinamarca está haciendo positos.
Here, and Batu will just use the bike to move silently a little bit deeper inside as they look to play the shanty town just on the edge of power grid. India, Mark, still all 4 players alive, but
India está llegando a zona. Sabe que se encontró. Sabe que se encontró con Finlandia. Argentina lo está ahí también. Está ahí cerca de India.
He's focused on his approach. India, on the other side, has the opportunity to apply pressure towards Canada, but do they have any idea that Argentina is a couple of meters away from?
Tienen que aprovechar la tormenta Argentina para pasar, ¿eh?
They are going back round as they look for an entry point now on the other side. Norway.
A Japón lo están tiroteando.
Coming in from Team Japan.
Yeah, Japan want to just
Japón le están dando.
because in the last map they got caught out on rotation as Hoba.
Kazajistán lo está atracando a Japón.
Takes a ton of damage, but Hoba just can't get the angle he needs to finish it off, and Japan will keep on moving in this time towards Norway as Jeans will just jump back into BDRM and get that first aid off.
Japón va con un neumático pinchado. Lo salvó la tormenta de arena, amigo. Lo salva. Lo salva la tormenta de arena. A Japón lo acaba de salvar la tormenta de arena. Subimos un puesto, vamos chicos, subimos un puesto, vamos. Estamos quinto de vuelta, dale. Argentina quedó quinto de vuelta. Japón lo acaba de salvar la tormenta de arena. Australia lo aprieta. Se está haciendo...
Just as I say, made it to safety. I am 5 from Kazakhstan. We'll get
Australia
that
se está haciendo
knock.
repetar.
Tiggleton, he says the Panzoid catches T-Bone, and Australia get their second point mark. But here come Australia.
Yeah, down to 3-man here. They're going to try and make the push. Tiggleton, though, is a one-man army. We know that. And oh my God, he gets the back. Vex jumps down and he falls out. That's number 2 here. An Australian digging out. And Michael has to have an explosion engine. The only way to stop Tiggleton, though. But that's 2 points on the board for Team Australia.
India pushing up here. K-Mine's going to fall
No, la que le hicieron a Australia,
treated
amigo.
back by Pipa, not too far away. Using that DMR. Finna.
Nació en su propia trampa Australia. India está apretando a Canadá. Argentina también una aprieta a Canadá. Vamos muchachos, vamos muchachos, vamos. Vamos. Vamos que te queda uno solo.
I'm out. I'm digging down. I'm going to dig my fortification. He has to try and hold. Philippines will go for the top side. Batalions will fall down though, as it is death from above. Levante doesn't know which way to look, but he's got a target inside. He drops his way down. Does find the exchange though, as another one will fall from the Philippines though. And for TU Neutral though, they're backed up into a corner.
Yeah, Aya's going to go and get that res off in Levante with a need at the ready, but jumping on board with Ukraine now, pushing towards UK again.
Ucrania tiene tanqueta. Ucrania está primero, ojo.
He's got all the Ukrainians pushing aggressively towards him here, Mark. They're going to step on it, and Ukraine are going to wipe out Team UK for the second game in a row.
Yeah,
y lo pusieron juntos,
versus Team UK. That's nearly death for them. No, definitely, it was Australia, which I suppose
Ucrania tiene 28 puntos, 5 kills.
Philippines, though, they have been dispatched down to a single player here. Neutral only losing 2 lanes now to try and make their way down, and it's going to come in from Lou a little bit further afield, catches that one out. So Philippines fall straight after in 14th place.
What a job by Levante, though, just keeping themselves alive in that fight, Mark. How many times did we see at the last PGS?
Finlandia.
If it wasn't for Levante, Vitality would have been in shambles, as India are going to get wiped out by Argentina. But Levante's a heck of a player.
Correct.
Aprovechando.
No for interviews, yes for aggression as he pushes his way forward. Levante, huge nade. He comes off the high ground, finds one, sees the opportunity. Underarm though, Japan falling down. DraftKings gets beamy though, and for the vehicle, well, Levante has a clean sweep for Team Japan.
Yeah, right on cue. We speak about him. He gets it done as
we
jump back on board with the ever so talkative Finn.
Está busteando, lo está apoyando Argentina, lo está apoyando Argentina. Uno de Finlandia lo está retando para apoyando Argentina. Vamos muchachos que le van por atrás, Está haciendo la mochila inhibidora. Guarda atrás muchachos.
Zone shifts away, has to make an explosive dart here. There goes a grenade, swings it over. He finds the first one. DraftKings will fall. Grenade doesn't do the damage that he's needed. He's out on the blue, so he has to take a pause. He has to get the med on. Yeah, but Chinese Taipei wrapping around on Finland now, causing a problem for them as they push in towards Argentina. People will confirm out that kill is correct.
Finlandia está atacando.
Molly still inside the blue, taking about 5 damage every single second he sets there. But what a molly that is. Emmy is going to fall as things get a little bit hot here for Argentina at the edge. And Chinese Taipei still putting the pressure on.
Un jugador herido Argentina.
It does go down for zone. They should get that confirmation. They do. Sata works his way down.
China se lo acaba de salvar el Pipa. Quedó el Pipa solo.
I like the aggression, but they didn't counter that sort of north sweep though. And for Chinese Taipei, they're going to continue to apply the pressure. And Argentina get a bit more breathing room, but a solo player for Pipa.
Yeah, and Argentina, they're still sitting in fourth, so it's not too bad for them after 2 maps. But Malaysia now, no kills just yet, but all 4 players up. Looking to
Filipina quedó fuera.
But look at poor Ketter. He's trapped in a shack. But I think the big problem for Lou is with only 1 nade and no BZs. It's a little bit of a trickier fight with Ketter than maybe he would want, but Ketter distracted a little bit further away with a bolt. So Lou's just waiting for the right time to fire these shots off.
Tiene uno apretado de Dinamarca.
Try and hit for the bolty first and apply the pressure, but He knows where he is.
Lo mataron al Pipa.
Guys in. They might have the utility that is needed to do. He takes the high
Bueno,
ground.
quedamos puesto cuarto.
Balance of over peeking towards Keta. Keta looking towards that top side. Chinese Taipei though has to try and leave, but they leave and they have to wrap their way around Team Turkey. Their position already here. Now they've got some opportunity, but where do they go? Sheila gets Levante down. But if Chinese Taipei don't stop here, they're going to apply their pressure into
Macedonia.
Yeah, and they're just going to park up here for now, play the edge of the zone, but that's not going to be too much longer of this world. Either is Keter.
Neutral.
Denmark will be the next team to fall. Placement point window has now been opened as we're inside our top 8. And Celtic from Turkey has the off angle here on the Chinese Taipei, and 4 kills for Turkey already, and they've got the northern section of the circle on lockdown. This could be a really good game for the Turks.
Tienen que irse.
I fear if you haven't seen Ukraine for
Están looteando. Fue mala idea eso.
He's hunting though.
Tienen buena posición. Está aguantando lo que puede.
Going to be down some bodies. Final body is going to be Lou. 8 kills is a big game from them. The zone, it might be the final, but stabbing
está aguantando lo que puede.
Still out there as well, so they're looking for the final blow.
Sabe que le viene gente atrás, sabe que hay uno ahí atrás.
Yeah, a lot of this lobby left alive is
su
from
compañero
the
quedó.
MEA as well. So I think for you guys, you're pretty happy, Mark, you and James, with how this one might be looking out as Hoba will get that knock on the upchain as Kazakhstan playing from the south, putting in work in Finland. Eventually will go down as Turkey find their 6th kill of the game. Circle getting ready to shift here once more, Mark, and this could be really good for Norway if it goes the right way.
Let's go towards that sort of north side. Remember, the update towards the land ratio and the shifts is critical. We are phase number 6 now. You remember, James was here.
Ucrania y Turquía con Macedonia son lo único que tienen el team completo.
They're going to try and now control that southwest corner. They're going to
Ya
make sure
tienen tomaron posiciones.
these teams around them sort of work their way in. Turkey has a compound as well, so I'm alluding to that Chinese Taipei. I'm alluding towards that Kazakhstan of like where do they want to reach? We might see a little bit of a split here. Kazakhstan versus kind of Norway. Chinese Taipei, they have a decision to get in the third party or moving towards Turkey.
Yeah, and Turkey, I think, with the warehouse they have, they're in a really good spot. But Chinese Taipei, Mark, they don't have a vehicle. Like, I just don't see how they're going to make this one work. Particularly, I think the only good thing for them might be the fact Kazakhstan will probably be a little distracted as they try and make their own rotate in from the south. But as you can see, Turkey are looking to give them no quarter whatsoever.
No. I can't see him getting out of here. They're going to need a massive smoke line wall here. Turkey don't need to move. They've got the high ground on them. If they played towards that south side, do we argue that sort of Norway would potentially come in with a good couple of shots? Forget that. Malaysia's got the high ground on them as well.
Macedonia está sorprendiendo también, Ojo. Macedonia está aguantando.
Now on 8 kills as they start to climb the leaderboard. They're now in 6th.
Tiene un solo punto porque no mató a nadie. Porque Kazajistán tiene un solo punto que no mató a nadie. Listo. 2 puntos. Está avanzando la zona. Zona fase 6. Está apretando la zona. Está curando lo más que puede. Está aguantando lo más que puede. Sabe que cuenta de sus botiquines. Tiene que matar a alguien. Tiene que matar a alguien para pasar por arriba. Tiene que matar a alguien para pasar a... Cayó en la rueda. Quedamos tercero con el Pipa.
Kazakistan. Yeah, and they just about sneak in on the southern side of the circle now, but Celtic's got a pass.
Turquía quedó ahí apretado entre los dos.
Lined up in Malaysia. We'll find another knock on to Turkey. Just 2 players left standing now for the Turks, and I think Shill is just keeping his back safe while he focuses towards James, who, by the way, Mark, still has that BRDM, so he's going to hop back inside in first aid. So really, it's just a case of take some damage, hop in, and that might just give Turkey the time they need to get the res off here on the Celtic.
You got to remember as well, given the information that BRDM is not too far away. That's why we're seeing the Panzers.
Macedonia tiene la altura. Macedonia tiene la altura.
The distraction from Norway has potentially allowed.
Ucrania sigue primero, Turquía con 18 puntos. 9 kills. Ucrania va a 31 puntos con sus 5 kills. Ganó la partida anterior. Kazajistán. Apoyar a Kazajistán.
Yeah, and with the blue zone coming in, that's going to cause even more problems now
for Kazakistan. Están curando, están al límite de la zona. Macedonia está esperando la oportunidad de que se regale alguno. Ucrania empezó a apretar. Macedonia va a tener que bajar porque si no quedan apretados con Ucrania.
Malaysia, they're kind of zeroing in on this. They've tunnel vision.
Kazajistán le quedan 2 jugadores.
That's right next to him. Hoba, the sub in, the super sub. He launches a grenade out, but it's going to be a little bit too short. The only advantage they're going to get there is going to dig a trench pretty quick for them.
Kazajistán se llevó el pico y empezó a hacer un pozo porque si no, estaba en el horno.
From Team Norway.
Yeah, and just keep an eye on that mini-map in the bottom right corner. Malaysia getting
vamos, muchachos, vamos.
so close to Ukraine now as well. Techers,
vamos que quedamos sexto, una más.
There's just one player left standing. I am 5. He's trying to stay alive here, but he can't. He-Man will get the kill, and there's 4 teams left alive, and it's going to be Turkey, Norway, Ukraine, and Malaysia. And Celtics caught out, but He-Man falls as well.
Noruega, Turquía y Ucrania.
Between Turkey and Norway. He's looking to try and get a confirmation. Melopay that hits the spray though, doesn't quite get any clicks dry on the 5.56 though. He finds the Mercedes head playing peekaboo over the top. Medbay has to back off and move his way around the zone. But it shifts down towards that southwest. It's okay for these teams, but they need to clear pretty quickly because Malaysia is going to go
Turquía lo está apretando Ucrania. Ucrania quedó en el medio de Macedonia y Turquía. Tiene que hacer algo Ucrania. Vamos, muchachos, tienen que defender el primer puesto. Si quieren estar ahí arriba. Están llenando de bomba.
Onto this fight from the side, but they're very focused, Mark, on Turkey and what's going on the other edge.
They've got to get rid of Turkey.
Ucrania tenía la tanqueta.
Hakatori sweeping his way down. He's a solo
Ucrania tiene tanque blindado.
for Team Ukraine. That's the reason why he gets an opening. Him and will fall down. Shida finds
Bueno,
Malaysia.
Turquía lo está apretando. Turquía está cagado.
The blue zone's going to cause damage. Shin finds Shida though, and the BRDM from Team
Ya saben que está ahí abajo. Saben que están ahí abajo.
to jump off to get the run over.
Remember, Norway have one of their own as well for later in the game. If they're going to need his boost, stick's going to hop back inside that BRDM, and the BZ going to just start
le tiraron beseta, tiene que retroceder.
into that reverse as they get a little bit closer to Diffix. Malaysia now 2 players left alive, and if Norway can do it, they can pick up what's left of this fight, but still Ukraine putting pressure on Mark, still moving towards the last 2 players of Malaysia.
Yeah, Turkey down to 2, but don't forget they've got the Panzers as well. So for Norway, they can't overstep. Hakatori finds those Diffix now trying to make the play over. Flash comes over towards the
uno de Malasia que lo están pushando.
Now looking for him. Sees the down player and doesn't see the player up.
Sí, Ucrania. Bien. Ucrania, quedan 4 de Ucrania, 2 de Turquía.
Start turning their attention down the hill. Shen and have dealt with Marco. Turkey starting to put in real work as well. Norway are down to a 2. Big opportunity for Ukraine now to go back to back on the wings. Big spray from Bustik. He gets another, and it's all down to Code Marco here. He's driving on off, but Marco looks like Ukraine are going to go back to back.
Ukraine looking
Ucrania y Turquía de vuelta. No, amigo. Segunda consecutiva de Ucrania. Segunda consecutiva de Ucrania. Ucrania está primero con casi 40 puntos. Vamos, Pipa, acá estamos, dale. Dale, Pipa.
All I was thinking was, oh no, everybody else.
Para el descanso.
Get out of the way. This is actually terrifying once again. And then we flicked them towards the end of their match, and I'm like, oh no, they have a BRDM as well. This is problematic.
BRDM, high ground with this roster. Oh, this is going to be a problem. It might just end up
El inicio de Ucrania
versus Ukraine if this continues
contra Australia.
Might be. I mean, as we take a look back at the highlights as well, Mark, there were moments where I thought, oh, okay, actually, yeah, Australia, they're bringing the fight against Ukraine, and then all of a sudden, oh, never mind.
Yeah, I was for it. Aussie. And then they died.
Japón también lo cagaron a un vaso.
High ground, unfortunately, for them. But I like it, and I think, as Matt, as you just said, like, the rest of the lobby needs to look at this. They're going to go, right, Ukraine's through. Let's just get out of their way because they're going to kill whoever's in front of them. Or will we see other teams like Team Australia actually try and take the fight? Because if you can get rid of
esa la hago yo, nomás. La que salta y dispara.
Get a victory and also secure your spot.
I've got to err on what you said at the beginning of that. Like, I think Gibson, it's got to be a stay away from Ukraine because they're going to have too much impact on a lobby like that, right? If you're coming in, you're getting back
Ucrania ganó las dos partidas.
So comfortable as then. You know you're probably going to be through just off the back of this alone, never mind anything that comes along in the next game. So they are a monster to deal with.
Yeah, and when they're in this position already, it makes them even more scary because they can just have fun with it and really put up the pressure and ramp things.
Lo que pasa es que a Malasia no lo ayudó la zona y Ucrania tenían la tanqueta también.
This roster were playing together, so whatever rust there might be for some other countries, I don't think Ukraine will have it.
Tough one as we take a look back at these last moments as well. One thing that did shine through as well, though, Matchroom, also watching that game, Turkey. This is an important game from them, considering the first one.
Well, they managed to make it in the later stages, so they got only 6 placement points in game number 1. No kills or anything else like that, just due to being in the catastrophe in the south. But this time around, we really saw like Code Marco, Sheila find some good successes, found some kills on this one, push themselves up in the leaderboard, and whenever you've got a point sponge in Ukraine up at the top, every single point that you can get, specifically if you're trying to encroach on that 10-point kill line, gonna feel incredibly good.
Y Ucrania, viste cómo estaba. Ucrania está apretando todos los equipos, que equipo que ve, equipo que lo aprieta.
It's going to be the last time as they're able to bag a ton of kills are Ukraine once again. I mean, the problem is, Mark, we saw as the rosters were being announced and we saw that there was a lift of a limitation on these teams being able to come from individual rosters and things like that. And we're like, okay, this is almost an unfair roster. But man of the match will be Schiller with 7 here, Mark.
He played well. You remember he was by himself eventually at a point where he went and sort of pushed up the north side. And as Matt said, like they had to have a bit of a, I wouldn't say salvation game because there's only 2 games in, but they only got those placement points game number 1. So this was a sort of an opportunity for us to show Turkey actually as they go to that.
En Argentina que estamos quinto.
Pushed their way in that northwest corner.
Estamos quinto, venimos ahí. Venimos ahí.
And again, they find themselves in second place. So
Australia que le tenía fe. La verdad que
as Ukraine does take 21 as well. And Gibson, just to kind of remark on Turkey again, because I think we're going to be talking about Ukraine a lot. Turkey for this one, 25 points go their way. Schiller for S2G in PEC and PGS was really the standout here, trying to drag the team.
Nosotros venimos con 15 kills, tenemos 16 puntos.
So hopefully we get to see even more of Schiller.
Estamos ahí sexto.
I think Drag is right. It's been tough sledding in those PGSs for them, but he has been the standout player. And look, it's a different roster than what Turkey had
tenemos que apretar un poquito más,
muchachos. They weren't great, so I think the 2 changes they've made, I think they are a lot stronger, and the teamwork does look a little better so far too.
Vamos, chicos.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Matchroom, anything else you were able to take away from this Miramar?
Well, my big concern comes into this. We were talking about Ukraine and what they're doing and the amount of points that they're managing to generate. How much influence are they going to take on trying to maybe eliminate some of the other teams? We don't really talk about that enough whenever we look at PNC, but with this stage already, the amount of points that they've managed to accumulate, and it feels like no real teams are capable of running right up against them in a 4v4 firefight. Do they start focusing on some teams that they may not want to have to compete against in these later stages? They can do that already, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous that we're thinking about that 2 games in out of the 10? But I mean, it's a reality. It is a reality. All right, we're going to a break here for PUBG Nations Cup. When we return, 3 more games here for day number 1 of the survival stage. We'll see you soon.
They're never. Everyone, welcome to another sit-down game time with Bella, and today's special guest is Team USA. Woohoo! Okay, well, today we are going to be playing charades. Ooh, yes, exactly the reaction I was expecting.
La invitación de Estados Unidos.
We would need to select the charader.
That's Connor.
I knew it. All right, but we have a time limit, 1 minute 30 seconds. So, yeah. Oh, you gotta look at them.
Connor, go back over here.
3, 2, 1, go.
Well, perfume.
Yes.
Water, drink. Drunk, soju, alcohol.
Dizzy.
Beer. He's trying.
Wine?
Wine. Mime.
Drink.
Alcohol. Beer. What? Cowboy. Surf.
Confused.
Go next.
Lost.
You don't know this?
Monkey.
They're never.
Gunners. Sheriff. Coffee. Stool. Coffee. Yeah.
Time is up.
Bien, chico.
Okay, yeah, that was great. That was great. But you have to riddle me this. How do you not know what a kebab is?
You don't know? Dude.
No, it wasn't kebab. It was kebab.
Good news is you now hold the record. Eight.
The record?
Yeah.
Who was the second? Are we the first team?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured.
Are you serious?
I knew she was.
Thank you for joining me. Next team is Team Canada.
They stink.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
gonna be
how many do you think they're gonna get?
5. Yeah.
5? All right, I'll see you guys at the next one.
All right,
Go Team USA.
Bye.
Bye.
Is here for PC and console. It's got real-time audio control to do crazy things.
Okay.
So use it and abuse it, you crazy person. It's the new gold standard.
A new way to play Rondo. Smoke that interacts with the map. And some balance adjustments. All this and more as we dive into the Update 42.1 patch report. First up, there's a new way to dive into Rondo. With the Blue Zone rule set available through Arcade Labs. The action starts immediately, with the first zone shown on the map right at drop for all 64 players to fight over. There's also an increased loot and vehicle spawn rate to help you gear up faster. But be careful, there's no wait time for blue zones, and blue zone damage is increased. You won't have any special zones to worry about, but you'll still have to fight for every inch in this fast-paced take on the map. Can you beat out the other challengers to secure that chicken dinner? Next up, we've made some changes to make smoke more realistic. As we mentioned in the 2026 roadmap, smoke is now interactive and can be displaced by explosions and other physical collisions, such as vehicles, care package landings, and more. No longer will smoke be the ultimate cover. You'll have to utilize strategy to make the most of it, or fight against it. We've made a few balance changes this patch as well. The SLR has gotten some improvements. We've rebalanced the blue zone a bit, and healing items have seen some adjustments to weight and cast time. You can find out more about these changes in the patch notes. There's also a new rank season. Racing mode added to UGC mode. Intense Battle Royale can now take place on Haven, and more. So be sure to check out the patch notes for full details. Update 42.1 is here. So grab up some rebalanced gear. Drop into a faster pace
del parche de actualización para tener todos los detalles de la actualización 42.1 ya disponible, así que vayan a la página oficial de PUBG. Ahí tienen todo. Seguimos con el torneo, chicos. Qué sensación estar ahí, ¿no? Vietnam. El trofeo de la PUBG National Cup 2026.
Back for Ukraine here for the survival stage of PNC 2026 as they looked ruinous. You want to stay out of the way of this cataclysm coming your way because they look relaxed as well. That's a terrifying prospect to go up against here to start things off. I've got Gibson, I've got Mark, I've got Matcham to talk about our next game coming up, and Gibson You don't want to be running into Ukraine right now.
Turquía también, tiene que defender los puntos porque
how many Ukraine helmets we're going to see at the bottom at the end of the day. And you know, we had one, we had two. At this moment in time, I don't see anybody stopping them. Like, they have been nuts. So I guess what do? Avoid them. If you know they're on the east, go west.
Scary team, scary roster, Mark. I'm in agreement, but there are some up-and-comers here. Of course, Neutral had a bit of a decent high ground. They were able to hold off some parachutes. You got Turkey holding down the warehouse for quite a while in that game as well. So, as I said at the beginning, I think very EMEA coded this lobby, and so far we're seeing that come through.
Esas copias son lo de la partida anterior, en donde cayeron las posiciones, todo eso. Como para tener una referencia donde se tira cada equipo.
The Rondo map is going to be the one that's going to be the decider for me. I bag maybe one more win from them. I'd like to see a potential another team maybe be aggressive. Take as Australia done. Be aggressive against Team Ukraine.
Definitely have my concerns for Rondo, that is for sure, considering the changes in potential land ratio.
Malasia tuvo la oportunidad, pero quedó tercero.
Have been relatively kind to these teams here, Matthew, but who knows what chaos could occur.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of fragging capability for some of these teams. It's just going to be the fact, does Ukraine get a little bit too comfortable? Do they overextend, maybe walk into Denmark's firing line or Argentina's? There is the capability where we could see them falter, but it's just such clean play right now coming up from Ukraine. Maybe some circles happening on this map could kind of shift up. Throw a little bit of a curveball, make it a little bit harder. Does mean the fact that it's going to be a lot more interesting and a little bit more random, though.
Teams looking ready to go.
Vamos,
Let's
chicos.
get to it.
Vamos.
Match number
Tercera partida.
3. Huge result so far from Ukraine.
Vamos. Tercera partida. Vamos.
After this one, as we get to Tago for our third game match.
Tago.
All right, so playing map's going to be over into the west around that so kind of coming in a little bit south of airport. It means the fact that we do have a little bit more of a lean into the northern area. So if you're wanting to go for longer stretches down into Songam, could be a little bit more complicated. Center drop is going to be a little bit dicier as well, given the fact that stretches down to the south are going to be more complex.
Yeah, for sure. I think for Tago, especially out of all the maps for this lobby, in particular when it comes to locations claimed as well as scrims, this was the one that was most figured out. Not too much of potential conflict, right? So even those stretches down south, teams should be totally okay with it. As you guys were alluding to, though, for Ukraine, it does feel like technically they could kind of do what they want. Technically, they could really put the boot in against anybody that they would see fit. But I think a lot of what they may be doing is saying this is like the very best practice you can get and just use that to parlay into the grand finals and probably just play out their own game. But that is, oh my days, that's a circle.
Well, very heavy western lean. Norway going to be okay off the start. I mean, we've got that island off to the west almost centered. That's a starting circle, to say the least.
It does. If we, for the longest time, people like Toby, etc., were like, "Oh God, what if we get that little island?" And technically, now, out of all times that it could have occurred, this is actually maybe the best time for it to potentially occur. With our circle saying
Ucrania con 44 puntos.
PNC, so, man, can you imagine?
We've been seeing that island get some attention. I think that we got pretty close to the tail end of one of the games. It was like second to last circle, maybe third to last, where it was still in play and teams were actually fighting on there. Very weird spot to get to, is it does provide some safety as we're looking back at what's going on in the last game. I kind of want to still continue talking about the circle while this is going on, though, because you've been alluding to it with the changes that have been happening with the circles regarding water. With the river that's kind of cutting through the entirety of the island, and this much water out early, this is going to be
iba manejando y se cruzó de...
trying to figure out where they want to go.
Yeah, buckle up your seatbelts, because there is the potential that this gets really, really wild. Hey, maybe Team Ukraine after the back-to-backs could be one to capitalize on it.
Están hablando en la partida anterior.
Some of those teams that would call a circle like this their home might be the ones
cómo estaba Ucrania fuera de la zona y
sobrevivió. You can see kind of those pings, and this is Ukraine kind of using this kind of rotation paths as well as where teams may have moved to try and actually go up against. But they found themselves up on these concretes here, and were able to take out so much early kills as well. So much room this team carves out for themselves.
Well, it's just the way you watch them play, they don't give you a chance to actually make a mistake. Like, they just continue to put on so much pressure, they'll eventually just force it. And you just have to take a fight in a disadvantaged position after somebody's been knocked, somebody's already been flushed out. Then they'll move on to the next position. It's so clean, it just looks like they're walking, but it's so much information, so much control.
Lo peor que puedes ir al drop.
Apart, squad upon squad, and there is no rush to it. It's just brutal efficiency.
I think also, like, when you look at the overall leaderboards from these first 2 games, yes, the majority of that top positions right now is dominated by EMEA. I would say as well, as much as Philippines kind of fell prey to neutral on that high ground, I think that they've done well in these first 2 games to keep themselves in and amongst that pack of EMEA at the top right, and consider that this is basically their second big showing on a PUBG Nations Cup stage, right? So I'm happy to see Philippines doing as well as they are so far. Hopefully they can continue that on.
Yeah, I mean, following on that, we haven't had a chance to dive into a lot, but again, Turkey, big game for them in the last one, finding a lot of kills. 2 later game successes in a row for them, so we'll have to see how that kind of works out. As now we've jumped over here, this is going to be the nature of the beast, as it is United Kingdom lined up against Japan. This is going to be kind of a setup, and what we're going to be looking at moving forward is this is some much-needed points coming up from UK if they can take it down, and yep, Japan eliminated real early.
Yeah, shame we didn't see the beginning of that fight, obviously, as they wanted to watch the highlights over in Korea, but that's actually quite important. Japan only 1 point so far across 3 games. Great Britain there. Yes, okay, so you lose 1 early on in that fight, but there is a world where they can maybe get a blue chip and then get somebody res back up, but the problem is that there's a lot of teams on the north side of that circle, kind of alongside Great Britain. So that might deny them time to be able to get a 3rd up, but 4 points for 1 body early on, it's not that bad.
Everybody being invested in what's going on with the United Kingdom, like you talked about. We've got Kazakhstan, Denmark, it's going to be over here. Finland coming in just with 1 player, but the other one's going to be tail ending. This means that there's going to be a giant cluster right along that bridge that kind of connects the 2 different sides, and we're still kind of 50-50 on how this can go. It does lean a bit more to the south. Of course, there is more landmass there, but the way the circle could pop, who knows? That means the fact that we've got a very weird split with, it looks like Norway holding down one side, Chinese Taipei also holding down pretty close to the other bridge, but the far eastern bridge looks like it's going to be Ukraine with close approach.
I totally agree with what you're saying, because the thing is because of the circle changes for PNC, this is going to make these extremely veteran players play a little bit more tenuous about how they're going to kind of play this out, how they're going to be able to kind of set up their splits, and where they maybe need to transition later on down the line. So and obviously, yes, there's been scrims going on with these circle settings, but it's nowhere near the wealth of games that we have where Mario was 4 and 8. So there's definitely a lot of question marks up in the air here for a game like this.
United Kingdom was trying to stretch out, get away from what was going on with all the squads around them. They do bump into India. India's going to be more forced into the west. Back down to the south, you can see Philippines going to be bumping into Canada. This is going to be a defensive setup from Canada as they do manage to catch and rally back around. So going to be how aggressive Canada want to play. Early game Canada, they got goals, man. These guys want to fight early.
Yeah, they really do. And it seems like a lot of it is just driving past people and hoping that they're able to hit shots or driving people over. Canada with some road rage on them. As a hybrid scope on the M249 here for Shinboy is looking against this position. Philippines, though, going for a bit of a trade. Adam does go down. Here, as Canada, a little bit separated across all these positions. Alec will shoot a few mini shots into that. But Canada now loses Adam, so bit of blow for blow here for the Canada boys.
That bounce off the top, just enough. And all right, Canada, you're going for the early game points. I figured that what Canada was trying to strive for here is see if they could catch a rotate, get a couple of points, maybe try to keep their points per game up to keep them in a better position. Doesn't really come out too favorable for them. Canada now still also has to deal with Australia coming up back behind them as we do get the reses trying to come out from the United Kingdom.
So this actually happened a bit more northwest of where that engagement was, and Finland has been hunting this. They were south of Great Britain, and they followed them up here. That's interesting here, as Finland was hoping for maybe some easy free kills in inverted commas against Great Britain. Still a great team, no doubt. I'm conflicted. This is Great Britain versus Finland, which is where I moved to after Great Britain. I don't know who I want to win.
I mean, this should provide enough time for a rally for Great Britain, to say the least. But I do agree with what you're talking about. Like, what was it, Scott that was over there eyeing what was going on with the firefight with the United Kingdom and Japan just a little while ago, and then they just tail-ended off of this. Malaysia still also has to get in the circle, but they're going to be approaching from Godok more that point. Denmark's going to be playing center right now as India, with Great Britain kind of repositioning up to the north. That's allowed India to go move down to the bridge. They're playing both sides of it, so that way they can always end up on top. What we'll have to see is I mean, I think that's a little bit of aerial scouting coming out from Snipehole.
Ucrania está peleando con neutral. Argentina puede aprovechar ahí,
Another crazy circle.
No way. Oh, that is... I was anticipating where we were going to go, and that is terrifying. Goes to the west. At the same time, the Finland fight is still going on, by the way. Like, they are still very much on that hunt. I think they realize with a...
Hay que ver si hay alguno que se la aguanta para que hagan, para que paguen peaje.
It's going to be terrifying, right? So, just try and hunt the kills if you can see them. And the Great Britain situation was the perfect opportunity to try and go for something like that. So I think that's a great maneuver by Finland early in this game.
Okay, so where do we want to pick the firefights? Because there's going to be a lot of them. There's the bridge that India is trying to cross right now, where they're going to have Denmark on the other side of it. Tailing in back behind that is going to be Kazakhstan. We have Taipei that's already going for a very centered position. Turkey's already playing over a little bit closer to Hapo, so they're going to be fine. Argentina's going to be cutting in pretty close to Chinese Taipei. Aussies are going to be coming in back behind them. Norway does have a compound that they're running a 2-2 split into a hillside on. You can see right now.
El otro línea está aguantando las
posiciones
por lo menos. Necesita los puntos.
The channel and should be fine for
India
playing the
necesita puntos, tiene 4
but they are
puntos.
going to be having to deal with Batulins, who are already playing that point early. Does get the knock on Boostic, but can Batulins even get the flush? He can get the damage to almost get a follow-up knock, though.
If there are any teams that were going to shut down Ukraine here, Neutral might be one of them, because of course they have a wealth of experience against them regionally. And even some of them have played alongside each other a lot when it comes to ranked, when it comes to pubs, etc. But now Mornay is getting charged up here. Diffex trying to thwart any potential pushes by Levante. Sees in the distance, Hakatora shooting at Doozy in the distance, though. Doozy needs to take some cover and get out of dodge.
No puede tener dos veces
still very
tanqueta.
dangerous. Yeah, they would love to get Boostic up, but it's going to be difficult. Panzerfaust against the BRDM as well. Ukraine's taking some casualties now.
Neutral's got goals. They realize that if they want to try to climb this leaderboard more efficiently, they need to jump on the opportunity that Batulins did provide for them. Boostic's still bleeding out back behind. Batulins now low on life, as well as ears ringing from the explosions all around him. But Hakatori and Diffex still both up, as Hakatori is going to be defending while Diffex goes for the res. Can Levante get into a position? Because if he can crest up just enough to get vision on it, he can put in a ton of work. He does get the knock on Hakatori.
Nice with the Dragon.
Están metiendo el de Australia.
A bit more done at the same time.
Australia se dio cuenta que están peleando ahí atrás.
Well, Monty sees in the distance. Neutral. So what can he get done against
Neutral sigue presionando a Ucrania.
Neutral doing some good bits here, basically saving the rest of the lobby at the moment. But Diffex says no. Batulins insta-down. Oh dear me, that's going to cause a few problems.
Sigue teniendo la delantera. Primer kill para Ucrania.
The blue chip after the fact here, but Lou does seem
Neutral no se deja intimidar.
Good shots, doesn't quite get the finish though.
So Australia is set up right along the zone wall, doing a lot of harassment on the firefight. Neutral trying to chip around and gatekeep out. That put them in the position where they were getting backstabbed by Australia and a lot of their problems, but enough to where at least Luke can get that knock on Boostic. Can they get the follow-up? Can they do the big work that the rest of the lobby needs to be able to take down Ukraine? It's going to be more and more problematic as it mounts. Even now, Great Britain taking shots in.
No.
And Ukraine is gone here as they will be down and out. That opens up the lobby here for a lot of these other teams at the moment.
Acaba de pasar por arriba Ucrania.
Dropped a nade on
Está peleando
that does take down a doozy here. So Levante and Luke gonna have to be playing things out. Meanwhile, other moves going on. Denmark's taking a really strong high ground position for a circle like this. There's some weird things happening as well. Malaysia's swimming at the north. I don't think I've ever seen in a pro game people swimming up towards that small island, but hey, here we are in 2026.
Vamos, chicos.
Look, this circle is just going to be weird enough as we're looking at it. Like you were pointing out with Denmark on the high ground, that leads into a pretty much field center that we're looking at, where Norway is running a 2-2 split. Turkey is going to be kind of holding down Hapo on the other side of this, leaning into the field. There is also the hillside coming out of Hapo that is entirely vacant right now. They can find something to work with. Argentina is playing along the kind of defensive down to the southeast. Here is your swimming, the mermaids of Malaysia.
They've got
a boat coming in slowly. I wonder if they all pile into that and hope that there's no one looking at the coastline later on.
Finlandia está apretando a Macedonia.
Okay, here's our tail end approach into the circle as Kazakhstan just a little bit ahead of Finland. Turkey does spot out Gene. Is going to be able to flush him down pretty quick. This circle, while it does finally leave a lot of behind, still has a lot in it. Denmark, though, on defense. Very solid. Now it's going to be Kazakhstan just running for the field.
También.
One of the scariest things for these teams, you talk to them, it's always the holes at top of hills, because it's almost impossible to scout out, and that was a casualty there for Kazakhstan because of that. Oh no, the red zone! Oh, Luke and Fex down as well here. Australia taking down Great Britain, kind of, but also having some help.
La zona,
taking down the oppressors. Good job, Australia, against Great Britain.
Red zone coming
No
in
lo
full
mató.
effect. We haven't seen that one in a
La
hot
zona de bombardeo no lo mató.
Australia down to just Monty and Flood, but they still have to figure out how they want to get into the circle with Norway's defense. Remember, Norway is a bit more scattered across the circle, trying to get a foothold into this field position. Argentina's also going to have vision onto it, as it does look like Malaysia taking the waterfront approach might be rewarded, as everybody's got eyes into the circle at Hapo. The area that they're approaching from is pretty open.
Yeah, I think you might be right. They might actually just make landfall
Australia está apretando la zona.
because of it, which is an interesting one. But
Macedonia está cruzando en barquito.
Sure, I mean, technically, like there is small moments here where you should be in earshot of this boat.
Lo
And I
tiene
think
neutral.
Xavier realizes, but he just uses BRDM. I don't think there's any reason he should be getting out of this other than just using it as cover and maybe taking some shots. But you don't want to be giving up the BRDM, so he wants to try and get back to wherever Lunlun may be and set up shop here.
In true Twisted Minds fashion, you can see that Neutral's going to be hunkered down while we have a doozy and Batulins trying to make some a little bit of a recovery here. Don't know exactly where they're going to land. Philippines are going to be down to the south. Circle pops back up to the north. Denmark and that high ground going to be even stronger now.
Yeah, a big circle for Denmark, as there'll be a certain Dane very happy in the background, no doubt. But of course, as we take a look here, Neutral trying to be, they get shut down by Shinboy once again. Batulins was back up and good to go, but Alec takes him away. And now, for Neutral, it's all for nothing here. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to get back in a decent position for this. Aduzi is parachuting in while this is going on, but he is being shot. He's gone.
Yeah. Neutral,
no lo dejaron bajar.
You guys went against the raid boss in Ukraine and are punished.
No lo dejaron
bajar. Unfair, as now Norway has to make their rotate, and Aussie's getting pretty close to Denmark.
Yeah, no tier gear for Neutral. I'm going to have to go back and figure out another raid later on. But you got yourself Norway here, who, for Tekkas, He-Man, and 8C, they've tried to find themselves central spots, but Chinese Taipei is moving on in a position where they can try and find this. Thankfully for them, they can take little dips alongside these fields if they so desire. I think seeing the smoke, they thought, okay, maybe it was solo or something like that. I don't think they have the full read on it, though.
I just got a kick out of Lunlun driving right next to the Scarecrow, maybe hoping it could eat a bullet or two for him. As Finland in their approach, they were pretty timed out, remember, because they were on the hunt for those kills up to the north. So they're coming in a bit tail-ended on this one. Going to start getting vision from Denmark in just one moment. Malaysia's already definitely spotted them out. Norway could see them, and Turkey as well as Finland, I think, found this a little bit of a dip, but they're going to call this content.
Yeah, taking the porter, they've got quite a bit of gear in there by the looks of things, as well as IXE does take a knock, though, against Beamy. The high ground is menacing. Like, they have such a good overlook against a lot of these positions, and even some of those craters right there. You can dig as much as you want. Denmark will see you down on those low grounds. At least they throw down some smokes, keep the porter going here to be able to give them some cover. And that's the big thing for Tego, right? You've got a porter, it's got a great capacity size. A lot of teams do prioritize that to be able to get around there and carry as much loot with them as possible.
India has gotten pretty close to Denmark and now been spotted. That means that Denmark can't necessarily harass down into the fields as much as they wanted to. Aussie's still on the other side of them, so a little bit of a reprieve coming up from Finland in a very needed moment. Looks like they might be just trying to dig out a couple more holes to get some space, a little bit more safety. Finland does have to keep an eye on that bay back behind him because it has been aimed and controlled by Malaysia, still staying aquatic, but finally managing to make landfall.
Yeah, that second nade setup wasn't just about Denmark shooting at them. It was also just in case they suddenly have like mortar fire raining down on them, right? Like you cannot be in the same crater all as 3 players. So good stuff there by Finland to shore up some defenses. They still need quite a lot of points to start catching up with the top leaderboards at the moment. It goes forwards against Argentina. Chinese Taipei embroiled in a fight.
Argentina lo repliega. Argentina repliega el tanque. Filipina quiere aprovechar.
There was too much util going up against them, so they had to get out of dodge from that
Filipina quiere aprovechar.
Notice the position down to the south where Philippines are playing for. That's been a hillside that's been getting some control of the south, so it's been pretty much them and Denmark uniting to take on everybody that's down in the fields, but it's pretty much going to cut out everything the Philippines can work with, as well as hot post. That means that Turkey's still going to have the compound where Celtic's going to be playing from, and it's going to be more, where does Philippines even go for? There's a couple crossroads and safety that they can play, but that is going to open a lot more safety for the teams playing down to the south, no longer having that hillside in play.
I mean, at least there's still 4, right? Despite those little earlier engagements, despite Canada trying to like roll up alongside them, still really good fortitude by Philippines so far. Definitely an impressive start for them, as they have found themselves in a position where technically they can join up with the AR, but it's not exactly ideal. Are Malaysia always in the water? What is this?
Finally, this is a commitment. Look, they've beached the boats, This is where they're going to fight, and they're going to focus up on Turkey with a little bit of friendship coming up from the
bueno, a Macedonia se le terminó el agua. Y va a tener que empezar a subir. Ya lo están esperando. Turquía. Turquía tiene buena posición casi.
This is going to be its own arena, but I think the Turkey's already got the timing ahead of this one. It's just
Macedonia le está apretando la zona.
behind that's going to be watching this.
I must say, I have a soft spot for Malaysia. Every time we go for PUBG esports, it's always been an absolute treat, and I'm hoping we can see some results from them. And they do take down Fard here, so not too bad a start here to be able to get things going. Also able to get into the buildings and then start making some transitions. Very important. That said, though, now Denmark does see Australia as well as India trying to make a move on their position, but Denmark's had a great amount of time to be able to fortify this position. And Baby goes absolutely crazy once again. He has been knocked at the moment. Here comes the reinforcements, though, to try and deny it.
India just coming in full force right now. Denmark was
India
not expecting it.
Dinamarca lo está apoyando a India.
Gustav has come up, controlled angle,
presiona. Tiene 3 jugadores caídos. Y el último India.
But Gustav buying enough time to reset this. Can't get the counter knock on the nade. And India just coming up with full force. And Gusto has made a massive problem for Denmark, who thought that this game was under so much control of theirs.
100% Denmark is the kind of team that wants to finish this fight fast and get those reses off. You saw instantly, as soon as those knocks came in with that nade, both players from the team started going for the res straight away, knowing that that was the perfect opportunity to be able to get them back up, realizing that they weren't going to be able to finish that fight off as quickly as they would like. That was picture-perfect execution just then from Denmark. Oh my God! It's a banger!
Lo que le hizo Dinamarca a India.
Everybody else was hoping the fact that maybe Denmark would go down, give them a reprieve to the rest of the circle, but no, high ground control pops back over to them. It is Malaysia making the push into Turkey's defended position, but they've got a little read on it. Still already down just 2 players up for Malaysia. After all the aquatic antics, they are walking right into a potential kill box. Shilla on the other side.
And at the same time, yeah, the circle shifting away from Denmark. That means that they're going to have to try and make some work of it up on that north side. They know where Finland is, so do they use that as a path to be able to try and get some kills and move on in, or do they try and go a bit east? I think east is probably going to be the play for them. We'll see down the line. There's now Philippines here on the south side of this. These fields do give them a little bit of a reprieve. They've got some smokes down, got some emergency cover as well.
Filipinas está aguantando lo más que puede.
They know where he is. They just need to get rid of him.
Tiene un compañero abatido, Filipinas.
Full on fields. There's a smidgen of the hillside that Denmark's been playing still in play, but it doesn't feel too comfortable to play from. And this is kind of what you're looking at when you look at the fields. It is just destruction, mortars, explosions, and Turkey, Finland, Denmark now all have to move right down into the trenches with everybody else. And Kapitan, great work.
I think Turkey on the west side is actually moving in at a perfect time here, considering that they had the buildings now are moving up to what is a little lip alongside one of those fields. That might
mira cómo le cayeron justo, está reviviendo a los compañeros Filipinas.
Weathering the storm, and Shinboy is gone, so that gives them a little bit of maneuvering room. Mixon though crashes in on this northern side. Monty, he lies down for the shot. Mixon to take him out. What a little spot he was in. He was burrowed in like a wallaby.
I don't think I was good until you said like a wallaby. All right, so Monty at least managed to get the knock on to 1. So Denmark's got most of the control up to the north. Finland still could be a problem for them. They're trying to figure out how they want to move into the circle. They did spot out Denmark and how they made that shift down the hillside, but Finland's got just pretty much open field. And I mean open field with maybe a tree or two, a little bit of a defilade in front of them, but nothing really that you want to work because it's going to be vulnerable from Norway's position. Turkey, like you talked about, got a great spot down below them. I don't know where Finland can go without taking a fire.
Mala idea atrás,
Baby taking some shots. Oh, Sasa through the foliage as well.
Mala idea ahí atrás, amigo. Dinamarca.
Oh my God, Martin was right. Beanie is him. Oh my days.
No.
All right, well, Denmark's got control of just about everything to the north. Norway still has a player over here, as well as Kazakhstan, and you can see that instantly turns back over to him. Denmark now flooding around the sides. Down the south, Argentina's starting to get some vision as they move up closer to the road that they were using for some level of control and safety, but it looks like Philippines going to continue to pepper in shots onto them. That means that Denmark gets more maneuverability up in the north.
Yeah, man. When you get done, you know exactly where Denmark has now moved into position, as now smokes do go down here to try and get yourself towards some of those craters. Ermak still alive here for Kazakhstan. It's been a rough 3 games for Kazakhstan to start things, and that's a good knock, though. Really nice underhand. against those smoke
Hacia que
positions.
están apretando.
Kind of anticipated where He-Man was moving, so at least a kill on the board.
And that's big information right now for Kazakhstan because they know that they have a little bit more breathing room, and that circle pop definitely helps. Now Ermac can provide some cover for the rest of
Argentina y a
Argentina.
Turquía no la apoya la
Depending on
zona.
how Denmark's positioning is going to be playing. I said Ermac for Argentina. Stupid colors matching just a little bit. Apologies about that one. Now Turkey's got to make a move in, and the Philippines as well.
Vamos, chicos. Argentina
How long has
dependiendo
AC been here? I want to scroll back
de los
on the map.
muchachos.
It's been a while. It's been a very long while.
I mean, it's working, right? Like, if you get a shack like this, you know, and you're set up, and admittedly they lost one much earlier than all of that, but at the same time, the story really has been about Denmark as well as Turkey holding down their positions and being able to play on in. Denmark, though, I think has an amazing spot to be able to convert on this game.
So Turkey's going to be trying to play to make the crossroads position work for them. That means that they're going to have to pretty much push across the field where Philippines can do a lot of harassment. You can see that the road just to the left side of the screen that Philippines are playing next to isn't necessarily the biggest incline to work with as far as cover goes. That's going to be the other side where Turkey's going to be trying to play from. Norway is going to be in the center of a lot of this one where Turkey and Philippines are going to be kind of focused in. But Chinese Taipei is still going to have to deal with Argentina and Philippines in approach and the other side of the road from Turkey. All of this is just stacking up more favorably for Denmark and Norway's positioning.
Bien, dale, Kim.
He's Philippines in the distance. Philippines have great fortitude, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still so impressed that they're still alive in this game.
Vamos,
By
vamos,
all
Capitán.
rights, at this point, they should be dead. Down on that south side. Doing all right for themselves.
Lo que
Capitan with a
puso.
great
Bien.
post through against Xavier there. I think Philippines realizes, yeah, we're probably not making it further into this one.
Amigo.
Okay, so there is the opening for crossroads.
Vamos,
Argentina
vamos,
now
vamos,
on
vamos,
one
vamos,
side,
vamos.
Turkey on the
Vamos,
other.
muchachos, vamos.
Denmark still trying to
Vamos.
use that little bit
Defiendan
of a high
esos
ground that
puntos,
they've
vamos.
got control over. Turkey has also managed to kind of squeeze their way over next to this rock, providing some cover and a very open field because this is the entirety of the circle that we're looking at. That is Turkey all the way over into Denmark, so both sides of the circle are already available. Okay, can they line it up and time it? Well, it's going to be rolling right up. The explosion does stop it out, but that's going to be close enough. Do they even expect it? Did it get exploded?
No. Shot out. Shot out, shut down. Good stuff there by Turkey. Once again here, as now they're able to greet them on forwards. Captain, though, good, does go crazy. Starts things off against Cole Marco. Can he get a little bit more done? Everybody else is knocked at the moment. There should be more Turkey reinforcements coming in and shutting this down completely. Wait, where are you going? On the left-hand side. Okay, it's in a bit of a smoke. Colored smoke. Didn't realize. It was very, very transparent. There you go, though, as he does actually spot him on out and takes him down. That is Schiller and Cole Marco being able to shut down Argentina.
Let's go Turkey! Just now 2 points behind Ukraine on the climb.
Turquía está
Denmark,
peleando
other
el
side of
primer
this one, just a couple points back behind, 13, and there is a ton of
Turquía
kills
quiere el
still
primer
to be had.
puesto.
Don't forget about Ermac. Back behind him, still causing a problem as Denmark can't focus in what's going on to the south. The way
Turquía
this
está peleando el
circles
primer
pop means it's
puesto.
another move for Turkey, though, and they're going to be walking right into the waiting arms of
Ucrania
Norway.
no puede hacer nada
Ermac
para
is
defender
just
esos
doing a great
puntos
job on
porque
staying
ya
alive long enough to make it a problem for Denmark
esta
and open
partida
up so
cayó
much more opportunity for
muy
everybody
rápido.
else.
You gotta do what you gotta do. The thing is just for Denmark is they're gonna know at this point where everybody is. Like, they know where Ermac is, they're just trying to dislodge him from there. They know that there's probably somebody in the shack, and then there has to be a team on that south side. Elsewhere, there are no other threats. So Denmark has a bead on where every threat does currently lurk. Oh, but they might not know that Ermac has a Panzerfaust.
Can we talk about trigger discipline? How long has he been dealing with Denmark and still has that in the pocket? Waiting for the opportunity. Does the patience pay off? Doesn't quite get the knock. He tried to follow up with a couple of shots, but it just wasn't there.
I can respect it. I don't mind a little bit of a longer range Panzerfaust shot from Ermac. Now still somehow surviving with some of these smokes. Doesn't have any more left though, so now he's gonna have to make a move, knowing that Mixon and the boys are gonna be overlooking this position, and he sees him jump peeking as well. I think he might have just seen the top of his head there, so was shooting in that direction to be able to shut him down. He saw the transition. Surely he got shut down. Yes, he does.
The timing on that was almost so good for Ermac. So Turkey used the opportunity, what was going to be going on, the distraction in the north, to get right up on top of the circle. Now found themselves in a little bit of a safer point to play from. Norway, who's just been kind of hanging out right now, letting Denmark and Turkey do the work for him, is now gotten too close range. The firefights are just brewing. Have they put themselves in too pinched of a position?
Foldable shields, a lot of opportunity here. Beamy almost at the 1K club, 928 damage at the moment for Beamy, who's looking absolutely bonkers. What a performance from him in this game so far, and he continues it on. Celtic down at the moment here. Medabay did take down 8C, coming out of that shack to try and do something as well. Tekka's on the back side of it, burrowed in, but surely this is a Denmark victory match for him.
Peeking around the sides, Tekker's just trying to see if he can get anything more out of it, but Denmark just coming down full gusto. I won't even say coming down, they're just kind of sitting there, letting everybody walk into their crosshairs right now. It's just stacking up kill upon kill. Tekker sneaks around, tries to see if he can get something out of it, but the angles just aren't there. Turkey's gonna take him down, but massive cost. Schiller, the last one up. 16 kills. Can he make a miracle happen against Denmark? I just don't feel it.
No, Dinamarca saben que es uno solo. They will be invading onto this position. Get in the rowboat, swim along. The Vikings are on their way, but Schiller, crazy stuff to get things going. 1,100 damage at the moment. He's in the blue though. Surely it should be done. I don't think they know exactly where he is. Does he have any lethal nades? No, he doesn't. He has to come out of here. He's gone. He's gone. That's Denmark here with game 3 victory match for him.
But hey, Schiller tried to make it a bit crazy. Let's go ahead and tack back in our other friends here as we're going to dive into all the action as Ukraine finally doesn't get one, Gibson.
Yeah, Ukraine taken down early in that one as well, giving a lot of advantage to teams. And big shout out to Turkey. Big performance by them. But Mark just... about 5 minutes within that game, Mark just turned around to me and goes, yeah, Denmark's won this game after that big fight with India.
Yeah, you can tell. No, let's just go back 1 point, right? Yes, Ukraine didn't win, but you need to call out the fact that you were screaming at me in the ear for Monty not to continue fighting. You wanted to see Team Ukraine fight neutral, and you were so upset that Australia was getting involved, but they only play aggressive though, James.
Yep, they do. So far here for Australia, it's not entirely working out, but I think as this game does boil down, right, it really is the story of Turkey as well as Denmark. And just as an update for everybody watching as well, there will be a -2 going the way of Turkey due to an unequipping of the mandated skins for the tournament as a whole. But that said, Matrim, I don't think it's going to matter too much because Turkey is looking fantastic right now.
Look, sometimes it's worth losing 2 points to make sure you get your fit right and send a message. And Turkey definitely sent a message in that game. They did not care. They were walking through squads. We've been talking a lot about what's going on with Ukraine, how they're popping off. And Turkey took offense, man. They didn't get circle control. They didn't have the high ground. They were having to fight for every inch of territory.
Yeah, of course. Again, that -2 points will come at the conclusion of match 5. So if you don't see that reflected in the scoreboards for now, you know why. Just to keep everybody as up to date as absolutely possible. But let's talk Denmark here, Mark, because Denmark, well, I mean, your name is in their name, so talk about them.
I can't start with that. I've got nothing to do with it. It was good play. When they took that high ground, I think they were hoping for the zone to shift back their way. But I think even at that point, guys, they were really aggressive. They were taking fights, defensive play. I like that we saw Team India try and play aggressively towards them. But they had set up. And at that point, it was a set and match for me. They came off the high ground. They stormed their way to a victory.
Gibson, are you ready for a second Beamy man of the match?
It's almost coming, but I want to give a shout out to Gustav as well. That play on India was insane. And me and Mark had the conversation. I said, Gustav, like, just going to play in the Americas has made him such a better player. Like, going to work in America improved him so much.
No, disclaimer at the bottom alert. I did not say that in any way, shape, or form. I said he's improved America going over there. But
that's a funny one because, you got us 2 EMEAs and you've got your 2 Americas. And we'll probably have that discussion for quite a while. But there he is with 6 kills, the 1K club joining as well. Now, that said, though, actually, if it wasn't for him looking insane and probably getting the man of the match and the win here, like Schiller as well, 1,000 some damage, looking insane. But we do have to give the flowers here, Matrim, to Beamy, looking spectacular. 2 out of 3 man of the matches.
The only potential falter point that felt like could happen was right there at the end versus just the last player up for Turkey and up against India. Outside that, it was complete control over the entirety of the circle for what, 4 circles, 5 circles it almost felt like. This squad positioned perfectly for the way that this all played out, and they never relented.
23 points, going their way. 23 for Turkey as well. Amazing stuff. Schiller looking spectacular from all of this. Norway with a cheeky 7. I'm not gonna begrudge them here, Gibson, for taking that shack and hunkering down, because sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah, look, they got to center the zone really early. They played it at the end. They only got 7 points, which I think they'll be disappointed with, but there was an incredible nade at the end of that as well. It was like a mortar strike where he threw it straight up into the sky and it landed right down on top of Turkey as well. But look at that leaderboard, 30 kills for Turkey. When I spoke to Shilla before this weekend, he told me his plan was to play like predators. And with 30 kills, he's basically doing that.
All right, they've got the laser sights, they've got the camouflage, they're weaving through the jungles, but 48 points, nothing to sniff at. We're going to need Arnold Schwarzenegger maybe to shut them down from all of this one. That is a result and a half from just 3 games.
There's no Austria.
Well,
so how do we stop them?
Oh. Yeah, good point, yeah.
Well, they're away with it, they've run away.
Okay,
isn't he California now? Isn't he American?
Yeah, I guess if you're governor, you count. Yeah, we'll allow it. I mean, can we also just give a big shout out to Neutral for taking down Ukraine? We appreciate you guys.
Hooray! Yeah, that was kind of important, right? And you don't want them to entirely run away with it, even though it's probably going to result in a top 8. Here is Neutral, of course, trying to fight their way towards top 8. It's an interesting one watching them play at the moment, Mark, because I think we've had our reservations about how Twisted Minds has wanted to play things out. In regionals as well as PGSs, and it's looked a little slower compared to some of the previous years, so hopefully they're kind of able to overcome some of that maybe if Batulins is leading the charge, right?
On paper, it is an all-star roster. They should be at the top competing and not far off, right? I just, as I said before in the pre-show, the Aduzi, Batulins mix, is Twisted Minds firing all cylinders at the moment? I'd argue maybe not. I think we'd expect a lot more from them. Will they qualify through? I think so. My concern is, do we see Ukraine go up against them as one more time? Do we see other teams potentially third party? Because actually, if you can take Batulins, you can take an Aduzi, take a Levante and Lu out of the lobby, you wouldn't want them in the final because we know they're big hitters. So
True.
I'm a bit concerned. Do they get their own heads? How are they going to play this one out? Because we've only got a couple more maps for this day number 1.
A tough circle for these teams to run into each other, right, as well. Because I said it earlier on in that game, Gibson, that a circle like that, with the potential of what could come in later circles because of our circle shifts, will cause teams to do some things that are a little bit more unnuanced compared to our previous games and the like in PGSs and regionals.
Yeah, I think that map was the perfect example of it. Like, when's the last time we had a phase 3, phase 4 on that section of the map? And it just wreaked havoc for all those teams that were over on the Eastern Front. And you know, I feel like there was a bit of complacency from some of those teams. Like, if they could touch back on Neutral, I feel like we're seeing complacency. Like, Batulins is getting knocked and getting taken out of these games, what feels like really early, and it's just not like them. And like me, you also have them on your fantasy pick. I think a lot of people have them there. They've really not kicked off today the way I would expect it from a roster that, as Mark said, is just all-stars everywhere you look.
I've got to jump in, though. I do feel like Batulins has been dying a lot early, and that's kind of become his new MO, is to get rezzed and come back in with no gear and try to, like, snake his way into getting some points. We've seen that happen a lot. But also, let's remember that it is Batulins on day 1, and a squad that he's probably doing a lot of IGLing for, so, okay, maybe we'll see how day 2 goes, you know?
It's a toughie. It's a toughie. As we take a look across all of these rosters as well. For Norway, again, having that position wasn't too bad at all. I think that seeing them in a position like that as well. Do you have high hopes for a team like Norway here, Mark, considering the lineup has some strong veterans on it?
Yeah, back-to-back games, they found themselves in really good positions. They're not quite closed out as I think they wanted to. With him and obviously in that last game being very much down on that sort of outside, it's hard to get through, right? Especially as to try and punch a hole through teams in open terrain. But if you look at obviously where they're making the play, teams obviously looking at those calls, but they're finding the right spots. They just need to keep that point average up when it comes down to placement, and I expect them to go through. When we look at the finals, if they do go through, I can't see him taking on the likes of a team Ukraine, but for this lobby, I'd expect him a top 8 at least.
I'm watching as team handlers, and Denmark is concerned that their 4th player is not there just yet, but the lobby looks like it's going to be going. I think that's the sign. You know, you see the fear in the player through the eyes as they're like, where's my remaining teammate? Because we are now getting into game number 4. We are ready to rondo, and I am scared of this map with these circles. Let's figure it out as we give you over to Gibson and Mark for all of the action.
Thanks, James. And Mark, like James said to me earlier today, this is the map that he was most worried about when it came to the land ratio shift. And, you know, with a flight path going right through the middle, like, how much havoc do you think we could really get here in Rondo?
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to jinx it. I think the guy spoke too early about that island in the last one, so I'm not going to say anything on that. I just want to see the organised chaos, should we say, unfold. This one path, though, is a south towards the north. It is pretty much going through the middle, but I do want to allude to that sort of middle pack, right? We've got, I'm going to say, the Na'Vi and the Twisted Minds drop. Those sort of teams, rosters going in there. Will they go head-to-head early? That's the one I'm waiting for.
Yeah, we spoke about it, and we've seen maybe even in just the team version where Na'Vi and Twisted Minds have been fighting a little bit more often, so maybe we might just see Neutral and Ukraine pushing towards each other, particularly with the fact that this flight path will allow a little bit of time for it, as Denmark, one of the earliest teams off, they'll send Keter all the way over to Rinjiang to secure a vehicle. But Mark, what do you think of the new tempo? I actually think that these games feel so fast with the changes we've made to the circle timings.
I think it's that. Plus, let me add the caveat. This is an all-star roster, right? So these are the dream teams, the players across the world. So I think that aside is also going to help out. And that's why we're seeing some of this sort of early chaos. Fex will go down. Team UK is going to be there for the defense. Not best for driving. He's got a gun. Run!
Poor Team UK losing another player. And maybe another Luxian will find T-Bone as well. And, well, those blue chips, I think that they will be able to get them back a little bit later on because they'll be on the way for. You don't think that?
No, he's putting it straight in the car. There's one. He's going for the second one now.
Right, yeah.
Go tie up with the rest of the guys in Team UK. It pains me to say they're playing match number 4 as a duo.
What did they do to poor Chinese Taipei for that to happen? Team UK going to get slammed as we have a little look at what happened in that last map and how Denmark managed to get the win. You see, like when you get a circle shift like that, Mark, and you're already pretty much in the good position for it, it set Denmark up for the win, but they still had to go ahead and secure it.
Nixon played really well in this map as well. Really enjoyed. He took the high ground, caught the rotations, and we know Tego and Rondo kind of rotation. And then it was just that Beamy one with his skin on. Absolutely loved the level 3 helmet. He had the Groza, but he needed to try and get that player. And actually, arguably, he sacrificed himself at that point, Gibson, to get rid of that kind of critical player away from the lobby.
And are they playing well, Mark, because of Avenger or in spite of Avenger? That's the question that James wants answered here.
Because these shoulder rubs are on point. I love how Martin always makes the camera at the beginning as well. So GG's.
It's because he's so tall. They set the camera up. They're like, right, we'll give we'll put the camera so anybody below like 6'1" won't show up, and then Avenger just walks in frame. Like, I don't think
it's beers the bottom. That's too out of seat for him.
Him and Itzy are like 2 of the tallest players that we have in PUBG, man. It's not even funny.
It's pretty bad. But look, he's making calls. He's making the right plays from the team. They're playing this level of aggression. I love this defensive grenade out from Monty Mixon. Again, showing what he can bring to the lobby. And this team, Denmark, looking strong. They've not found the circles, but they found the kills.
Yeah. One thing I always like to say is if you need a win, get a Finn or call it Winland. It's not really gone the way the Finns would have liked it to go so far on the day, but let's just look at how this is. You were talking to me about Mixon here. You're like, he's not the strongest player on the team, but when your weakest player is as good as Mixon, you'll be all right. And he pulled off a huge play to get them that victory in the end as well.
Loves that play from Tekers. The Hail Mary at the top here picked up to Turkey, but Sheila just showing that he's world class. Which again, you got to look back when we look at the PGS circuit. What's obviously happening with their team and what they're going to do coming to the second half of the year. So, lots to be said, but again, All-Star, it's PNC.
I can't wait for the weekend. Whenever we see the real big hitters coming in, you know, Vietnam back in play, Korea, China, USA, like it is going to be so much fun. And I suppose we'll give a shout out to Germany as well. I believe a Cole back coaching this year, but Vard, he's going to line up the shots towards Chinese Taipei, but elects not to go for it. Doesn't want to bring the attention towards himself. But what's the best case scenario for Team UK now, right? They're down early. This is going to be tough.
It's down early and out of zone as well. Got to remember in the southeast corner. So they're by Tinlong Garden. They've got to rotate a real long way to get in. Maybe a glider, stay in the air, stay out of sight, out of minds, maybe, or play the edge and just pray the zone sort of shift back. It's got to be a survival game. It's best of 10 over the survival stage, right? So one bad game, you'd accept it. We're not playing a best of 5 just for the survival stage, and they are on the cutoff point at the moment. So you kind of take it. It's a bit of a reset though.
Still a superstar, Tiggleton, 92 kills, 5th all time when it comes to PNC. And you'd imagine that if they play, you know, with them playing in the survival stage going into the weekend, they will be dating expert, by the way. Okay, Tig, but
he's number one. He's number one. He's getting a win. Give it to Tig. That's what we want to see.
Are we trying?
What sexy lad, that's Tig.
Our production trying to find Tig a partner. Is that what's going on here?
This is PUBG dating game now. Come on, this is what we signed up for. This is why me and you've been matched together. A match made in heaven knows. Tig charging his way forward. The opening knock from Australia. Give him an opportunity. I think Australia, it's a chaotic team. They're going to go for some kills, but they can disrupt a lot of these big teams that want to play a bit more controlled.
Yeah, sitting outside the top 8 now as well, so they want to get some points on the board, getting closer and closer to day 2 as IXE will peek over towards Tiggleton, lands a nice headshot with the Mini 14, but with the knock secured, Australia really want to push into Finland and get these points, and you can just see them sending Monty out to try to get that off angle.
They're trying to find the off ankle, and they're trying to apply that pressure. Scav trying to find safety, but they will not allow that, so he'll be confirmed out. Point will go on the board now for Team Australia. Give them a potential opening now for disengage and wrap their way around, and for Finland get the opportunity to get that blue chip, and Team Australia stops applying the pressure.
Yeah, it's a point on the board for them, though, as they look to just add to the tally that they've put together already. As Pipa, congratulations, recently got engaged as well. I actually really like this Argentina roster. I said it to you already, Mark. They won a few maps last year at PNC. You know, they've got players playing at international events. Capitan obviously didn't get to attend the one most recently, but he did spend some time inside Europe. I think Argentina could do well. Like, I'm not saying they're going to win the event, but I definitely think that they're more than good enough to be in the top 16 going into the weekend.
Yeah, you obviously alluded at the very beginning they're going to be aggressive against Team India. We saw one map so far from that, but for whatever reason they've disengaged, but they definitely have been aggressive though, and the level of aggression unfortunately keeps going the opposite way for Great Britain. Michael will fall down. That means Team UK are now down to a solo player. It is Vard. We know he has the opportunity to provide that level of expertise, but as a solo, they've got to stay their heads down.
Yeah, India picking up a lot of easy kills so far. They only got 5 on the board so far, but it feels like the kills they are getting are just being delivered to them pretty nicely. Norway, they're rocking up now towards Turkey, who are on 48 points, but remember there is a 2-point deduction to be added at the end of the day. But Turkey so far, the pick of the bunch, just constantly in top 4s, Mark, picking up kills for fun. This is a completely different roster than last year.
Top 4s, top 2s.
Yeah.
Second. They are the most consistent team when it comes down to placement. They are sitting at the top of the leaderboard though, 48 points over 45 for Team Ukraine. So to wait and see. The zone obviously is about to show us which way it's going to go. Team UK and Provide has to try and hold up the zone, holds away. They do go up towards that northwest corner. Stadium in. Team Australia obviously already working towards that high ground.
Yeah, and
a lot of those teams know that the north is completely free, so they will migrate that way. The likes of Australia, Malaysia, all making their way north now, but there is a huge migration from the south as more than half the lobby find themselves expelled by that circle shift. So Norway will make their way in, Turkey not far away from that point either. But Mark, this circle, it's going to be fun for sure, because you've still got Stadium, Zhaotin, you've got a couple of those glass towers, and let's take a look at some of the paths to the circle we've seen already.
Yeah, and it's going to be down towards that southeast corner. A lot of those sort of paint shop lines are going to be working their way in towards that section. Obviously, to try and find that time, a lot of teams are going to try and clash here. Turkey is being one of them, though, as they've received a knock, and the confirmation has been done, not just 1, but 2, and they look like trying to get as much back as they can. Maybe Turkey won't be able to survive this one up. They're down to a duo, and they're getting chased down, but when you're chasing Code Marco, he's got a bit of a fight.
Yeah, Marco getting shot by Aya, and Aya will find that knock onto Marco, and he's the last remaining player for the Philippines here. Couldn't get turned because of the pressure, but Celtic, the same, will try to prevent them from getting this res off. Spots the player in the open. Celtic will see Ketter steal that kill away with the bolty. Marco picked up by Ketter now too, as Denmark managing to pick up the pieces here and add to their impressive tally of 42 points.
Gets up, looking for the final shot now. That's great, the connection, but he does pick up the kill. Denmark up to 3. They hold the position, but if you see from the team, they hold multiple angles. Beamy's actually a little bit off in a scouting mission up towards that northwest. It is phase 2. And they might be hoping and finding opportunities of which way to go or where they want to apply pressure. But for the Philippines, they're also down to a solo now. And no opportunity to work his way back. Oh, K-Mine, please. No! UK out.
Yeah, Canada picking up a point there, and they desperately need them sitting in 14th place on the leaderboard. But with a BRDM and all 4 players alive, let's see if the Canadians can finally get a bit of marching going in this game as we jump on with Kazakhstan and Argentina, and Emmy finds that knock onto Ermak, who was scouting it out, and that should be another point on the board for the Argentinians.
Yeah, Grenade goes over the top. Does the molly from Capitan. We get that confirmation. So Argentina find their first point now. They hold a very critical compound, especially on this east side. A lot of these teams will come looking this way on that next zone shift. So for Argentina, they've got a lot of to balance on the rest of Kazakhstan, though, which is further towards their southwest corner.
Yeah, Finna rotating in. You can see they're just behind India on this rotate, and whether or not they elect to take the push, well, Finna's going straight into the middle of them, so he could come under heavy pressure, and those good shots will force him.
Oh my God, he's drawing them in.
Yeah, he's drawing them in, but can the rest of Canada take advantage, Mark?
Was Canada being cheeky there? Were they trying to lure him into a little bit of a trap? Maybe not. They have disengaged. They've worked their way back. Canada have to rotate their way round. Zone shift again back towards that north side. So Malaysia, they sit pretty much central. Again, we find Norway in really good positioning for them. So again, making the right calls on the rotations and finding a position to play from.
Yeah, but Mark, look at Neutral and Ukraine. Again, they both rotated up from the same section of the map from that test track drop, and they find themselves only a few hundred meters away from each other, with one team favoring the north side of the stadium lake and Neutral a little further south. And you can just see they've got the mortars at the ready. Scav is going to come back in and join us as the Finns manage to get at least one of their 2 knocked players back into the fight.
Has he picked up Ferris, though? That has worked their way in on that north side of the stadium. I don't know. I didn't quite see it on the camera.
Turquía le queda uno. Ucrania tiene
el
equipo completo.
Nitrous oxide, though, applied on towards that BRDM. It is steamrolling India ahead of them. They can't quite catch up. We go back towards the other side with Denmark, and Gustav, though, opens up against Norway.
Yeah, Gustav still just trying to get an angle here on the other side. Spots Canada on the rotate as well, but the Scandinavian fight-off that we have potentially happening over on that side of the map. And you know what? People have been asking for a terrible joke, Mark, all day long. So do you know how the Danes get the boats into the bay?
No, don't know. No, we're not doing this. We are not doing this. I'm not being dubbed with it. No more. That is your one for the day.
Yeah. You give me one. Matt got one earlier, so I've got to get one in as well.
What is with the NA cast? Terrible.
Too much time with toffees. Way too much time with toffees. Nade's getting tossed in. Adams back up on his feet for now, and K-Mind is going to try to take the attention away with the BRDM. Allow the rest of the team to regroup, which is exactly what K-Mind is doing. And well, you spoke about Stadium. Ferris and Scav just meters apart now, and Ferris knows exactly where Scav is.
Yeah, Ferris obviously worked his way in from here, so good play from him. He's obviously the IGL. Hakatori, for those that don't know, does do the kind of this co-IGL role for Team Ukraine. So it's kind of a dual approach. So either side, Ferris has the information that there's one in the stadium. It's Hakatori trying to piece that puzzle together on the south side.
Ferris spots out Scav now, gets the shots off, and will confirm out that knock. And he knows that Scav is the only player here at this point in time, so that's another point on the board for Ukraine. Bustik! IX is going to fall, man. Bustik is nuts.
Yeah, insane. And I think he goes underneath the radar because you've got Hakatori on there, right? And you've got Divix on this, but Bustik is a big hitter for Team Ukraine. Brexit, final player now for them. He's on the hold. He's got to try and find the rotation round, but they know they've got the opening. Team Ukraine will crash in. For Ukraine, and just want to find the final body.
Yeah, Correxi's just hiding inside the other building, and he'll just try to live his life out. But man, Bustik confirms out that kill. And I remember Bustik first coming into my radar. Remember when he used to sub in scrims for Twisted Minds years ago? Because he wasn't old enough to play competitive, so he could only play in scrims. And I remember just saying, this kid, he has everything it takes to be a big name inside of PUBG. And, well, Ukraine definitely happy he's on their team as things stand. Let's see, though, if Lou on Neutral can line up a mortar exactly where he needs to for a bit later on. Maybe even just use the mark to create a dip or a hole that they can play out of a little later on.
I think just looking at the map, I think that's exactly what they're doing. I think they're trying to find an opening, potentially on the bottom of that mountain. Malaysia are ahead of them. Just be careful. Back towards Finland, though. He knows he might receive pressure here from Team Ukraine. So smoked off one side.
Adelante.
Ferris on that north side of it.
Yeah, and Argentina now know as well that they've got to kind of play their way out with the blue zone, and instead of waiting for Kazakhstan, they want to get closer to the circle. You know, hold them out closer to the edge so that you don't waste too much time, because Canada are being held on the north side by Kapitan, so that allows the rest of the team to focus on any Kazakh rotate into the circle. And our Kazakhstan in 10th, not really playing at the levels we might have thought we could expect from this team.
No, I think the Hobra entry point for them was going to be interesting. I have to wait and see how that goes. Hakatori looks to the sky, finds one. Looking for the second, has to go for the reload. He's got the information coming this way. Krexi now gets involved, causing damage towards him and Chinese Taipei. They have to go towards this northwest corner of stadium, but the zone is moving in. Diffix, though, is moving on up as he finds a kill with a doozy.
Yeah, this is the big one, as Ukraine managed to push back that push from neutral, and I thought that neutral were really hoping to pick up a few easy kills, but Denmark and Norway, that Scandinavian fight that we were expecting to see a while ago, is now up and running as Argentina finish off Kazakhstan. But all 4 players up for Denmark here. Norway looking to hold them at the edge of the circle as Mixon just puts down some cover so they can start climbing that, you know, that hill towards Norway.
Yeah, Norway obviously positioned here. Denmark losing the zone. They tried to work their way around, took some shots from Argentina like Kazakhstan, but they've got to be careful. Mixon dodges the molly, has to be cautious, backs away. Keta does find James with the grenade. That might open things up now as Norway have to get to the defense.
Yeah, Tekers peeks on the side, doesn't really get any damage off of note in the first one, but James is down. Molly being thrown by Keter, but he's aware of a flank on the other side as Itzy is forced out of the dip. That great Molly will take him out of the fight, and Gustav's nade is even better. Down he falls as Gustav's nade play has been so good so far today.
Yeah. Off the backboard, down towards Ainsley is not be good for him. James obviously is already down. Tekers on the off angle. There's a bit of a trench to try and dig his way out of, and Keter, though, working his way through the smoke. You can see over the top of it, just trying to get the information. So you can see, fortunately for him, the rest of his team falling around. Now comes a charge forward. Beamy charges on, and Tekers, though, launches a barrage of shots towards him.
Yeah, but Beamy takes some damage in return, and Ketter's getting hit by He-Man as well as Denmark. They are up against one player from Norway, but he's not done fighting yet. He-Man trying to rotate away, maybe get his way to the Pika bus. Can you get there? No, Japan are starting to shoot him, and it's Goni from Japan who cleans it up, and down fall Norway. Another point though for Denmark.
Turkey looking for the breach now. Neutral there, Chinese Taipei all in within that stadium. Now has to go for the charge, and it will be dead. Shots will come through. The JS9 will put him down, and it's met by Turkey. Finds Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, but now coming under fire from Monty as well as Australia trying to hold them out. Remember, the blue zone will start closing very soon, but keep an eye on Batu on the stairs with the shotgun. Could ruin their day. Argentina, that's another knock for India. Oh no, Draft King! He flips around the wrong way, and Argentina deleted by India.
That card did not land nicely for Draft King. India defensive. I was questioning why were they not pushing down. That's because they've dug themselves a trench. Here comes Canada. It's going to be chaos. Malaysia get involved. K-Man going to try and run him over, but he gets in the car in time and takes huge amounts of damage. And Gustav puts Finn down.
Yeah, and Finn has been knocked, but Diffix actually from afar got that knock onto AJ, and K-Mind is trying to steal it by reversing into him, and K-Mind will pick up that point for Canada. Now he'll try to just drive on off. Remember that BRDM providing so much cover as Denmark start pushing their way towards the rest of Canada, trying to get more points on the board here, Mark.
Love the aggression. I love the aggression from Denmark. They've picked one side. Now they're playing forward. The BRDM, well, it's going to have a big factor. Adam, though, obviously looking over. Malaysia already pitched up. We've got Team India, though, that has entrenched their way. It's going to be chaos Gibson on the southeast corner.
Yeah, that Finna is down, Adam is down, Canada just getting torn apart here on the edge of the circle as Mixon confirms out another kill for the Danes. 47 points and counting, and Shen's got a BRDM coming his way, but no Panzer to help him out here, but Canada just want to find somewhere to play.
No Panzer, limited 5.56. He hasn't got the ammo to kind of send it to the abyss, but it has gone down. Canada jump out, Shimboy gets an opening, but Beam is there to exchange.
Oh, Denmark just picking up the pieces once more. K-Mind up against Unforgiven. He manages to find the knock on one, but Seven is from Japan will confirm out that knock. Canada fall, and maybe India. Do they have the opportunity to regroup? I don't think so, Mark, with both Malaysia and Denmark not too far away.
Right, Malaysia, they've got this little bowl they've got to try and play, and it's actually Team Ukraine in that northeast corner that's got some height advantage, causing damage.
Dinamarca lo está alcanzando. Un punto de Turquía está.
So must be pop that back in the vehicle, and he does. He swaps back towards that mini, so it's going to give him an opportunity to sort of drive their way forward. But for now,
está peleando su puesto.
might calm down, we hope. Batalions, though, for Team Neutral is out in that blue on that north side.
Yeah, look, that 5 kills for India so far, and the circle actually shifting their way now, as well as Australia, Ukraine, and Neutral all need to start making their way inside that next
India la
phase.
hizo muy bien,
Mark, it's pretty much felt like
India
Japan have died on the road
ahí.
every single game so far, and for once
Sacó
they find themselves in a pretty good position in Game 6. Japan climb their way off the bottom.
See what they can do. They have got the zone. You're all right. They got caught in those rotations. I feel like they took that one step too far. But this time, the zone's giving them the opportunity. But it only gives them the opportunity that those who grasp it by both hands. And that team for me is Team Denmark. They make the push now. India launched a grenade out. They caught It's a complete Kobe to Gustav.
Oh, he's going to toss another one towards Beamy, but Beamy manages to avoid the shrapnel as he steps across. Translucent, another nade at the ready as Beamy will try to send one back the other way, and Beamy's one might just do the damage. It does just a little as Translucent somehow manages to stay alive here. But Japan starting the third party on this one as well, Mark, as they encroach in.
Aprovecha.
They have to clear up, be the last team
Apunta
on the
aprovechando,
south
suma punto
side.
también.
Japan up to 4 kills. Ukraine taking advantage, and they will deny Turkey an opportunity at second as they will take top of the leaderboard.
Acabo de sacar a
Bustic gets the
Turquía.
knock on to Tiggleton as well, as Australia will manage to get that regroup in, but it puts them behind on the rotate. Here comes the rest of Ukraine, Sunny side up, and a fight with Ferris. Ferris, though, he's going to get caught out. Ukraine will fall as Japan pick up their 6th kill of the map. 6 teams left alive, Marker. That was great play by Sunny side up.
Not just one, but 2. Maybe 2 of those.
Está peleada la competencia.
Malaysia able to sort of peek out above
Australia
their little
tiene
precipice, their
el
little hole.
completo.
And no, of course,
Peleando con Malasia.
Australia have a 2-2 hold, and he goes for the over peak. It was a bait from Team Australia. Now
Australia
they
también se quiere
divert
meter
back
entre
and
los
they
mejores.
apply the pressure.
Malaysia,
se quiere
1
meter
kill for
entre
them
los
so
mejores.
far, but they've got Australia and Lou from Neutral
Malasia
starting
veo
to
medio
push
apretado.
into this position as Monty will just first aid inside the smoke. Remember, this is a tough spot for Australia. Luke will now leave the compound as well. Tiggleton still playing a little behind, but do they know about Lou?
No, he's been sneaking his way in for a little while, and he's got the
meterse.
cover, the foliage.
Necesita los puntos también
Get away
neutral.
from him. Malaysia, Shen,
Está
launch a grenade
aguantando.
out. Neutral caused some damage. Now they play peekaboo over the top. But what worries me here from Malaysia is only one peeking over at a time. Tiggleton coming in on the other side. They're going to close their way out. They're going to get the information. Malaysia go for the rotation round. But for Neutral, though, when does Lou activate?
Yeah, this is great for Lou. This is a distraction. It's going to get more placement points. Maybe even a few kills he can steal away a little bit later. Monty tossing that nade up to try confirm the down. Maybe even get Flood back up, but pushing up as Empt as he tries to just preemptively strike onto this team. Shen will find one. Empt steps into cover. Tiggleton finding himself in a world of trouble. More damage being dealt as Luke 12 steps up. He gets that knock. And Lou steps up now. He falls.
Oh, it's so close. He saw so many dead bodies in front of him. So many points potential, but Lou will go down. Shen, though, final player here from Malaysia for Team Australia. They're down to Luke 12. They have the opportunity to try and get the res. No other team can sort of sweep their way around. Japan is waiting in the wings, but when does Feven take to flight and take the north side?
Yeah, but look, Luke has delayed this res for so long that it's allowed Shen to wrap around the other side, and Luke 12 will get 1 kill confirmed. Shen finds Flood now. He's in that 1 versus 1 while Monty steps behind the tree to get the first aid. But this is Australia very slow on it, Mark.
He's got one clip as well. 41 bullets from Shen. There's 2 bodies from Australia in front. The flash comes over. He doesn't need one. He's got a half a clip. 21 shots. And Shen put Australia down.
Shen
they
lo mató
lined
todo.
up perfectly, and Shen knocked them down. Australia go out.
Qué buena
And
pushada, amigo. Esto está pero para cualquiera.
Denmark 2 alive. India and Malaysia with 1
Esto
player
ya sí se puso interesante,
The Sunny side up just begins
se puso
to creep his way,
interesante,
trying
quedan
to
4
see over
equipos.
that
Malasia
to see where Shen is, but Mark Shen,
acaba de hacer una
he's
jugada
already
contra
migrating
Australia.
south towards where India and
India
Denmark are waiting.
también está sobreviviendo India. Lo acaba de sacar a Argentina. Dinamarca que está aguantando también. Y Japón que tiene el team completo quiere meterse en el podio, amigo.
Set a defensive position in the zone yet again. One more time comes back their way. It's phase number 7, and it's a pretty standoff now.
Shen will just hide behind that BRDM. He's got the dip for plenty of cover as well. But the question is, how many more points can these players get out of this game, Mark? You know, like, yeah, that's the problem. No ammo. I think Japan have to take advantage.
Yeah, but Japan, look at them. They're sweeping on this south side. They've left sunny side up on the sunny side on the north.
Japón también.
For India, there's no need for them to move. They just kind of let these
India y
teams
Malasia están
fight
esperando
and
que
look
se
for a second place.
están esperando el sonido de los disparos para ver para dónde pueden salir.
But at
La
worst case
retención,
scenario, actually for Team Denmark, Japan are going to sweep in on the south.
Yeah, Fevin, just peeking up over that ridgeline, scouting for the team. Look, Japan do not need to take any risks. You've got sunny side up, locking down the north, kind of feeding information as to what's clear and what's not. The problem is, Mark, that bowl. The center of the circle, there's a wide open bowl, and I think that all these teams are just they don't want to be the first team to move, because you feel like the first team to move will see the first player get knocked.
Yeah. Keta, he's the Balti King. He hits a neck shot, should we say, towards Shen, so he knows he's got danger now in the south. Information has been gained for Team Japan. They swap over, they go for the heavy load on the north. They leave a player down in the south side. Fevin will have to try and sweep in. Denmark does have Beamy just about in zone, but can Keta make it to him?
Yeah, Fevin just still playing that ridge line as
Japón sabe que tiene uno ahí.
Everybody just waiting.
Japón sabe que tiene a Dinamarca ahí.
I think India has done a great job of just keeping Snipeball as hidden as possible, but it looks like Japan are starting to bring the fight over. The nade from Goni is good.
Muy pocas opciones tenía Malasia. Japón acaba de sacar a Malasia. Queda India, Dinamarca.
He's going to come towards the dot, and it's in open man's terrain. Japan, Fevin does cause the damage.
Sacando de la trinchera de India.
Try and work their way out. Gets the shot. Keta goes down to one, but Beamy's there to exchange.
Dinamarca acaba de sacar a India.
Malaysia is out, and it's a 4 versus 2. Can Denmark hold off the barrage from Japan?
Yeah, Ketter's still alive, as is Beamy, so you've definitely got 2 players who can pull off an upset. But for Denmark, top of the leaderboard, they're looking for that knock. Beamy stays in the fight, 5 HP, but didn't dip away just yet, and maybe he's going to punish for it. Goni, he's going to find one. Japan, they are going to take the victory from bottom to 7th, Mark. Big win for the Japanese.
Not quite bottom to top, but yeah, it's a huge win. And Gibson, you alluded to it though, because they got the zone, they got the control, and this time around, James, they found themselves a victory. Japan climbing the leaderboard.
Yeah, which backers are going to get in the way of Japan? That's the question for me. And it was unfortunately Denmark towards the end, but they're all smiles anyway. Look how well they're doing so far. But that is a very important win for Japan, Matchroom, to be able to put themselves a little bit up this leaderboard for now.
Ganbate Nippon, man. This is a big game for them because they needed it. It was a struggle, but they timed it well. There was a couple of times I was a bit nervous that they might have split themselves up a bit too much, but they read the circle efficiently.
Japón fue una victoria muy importante. Ucrania está defendiendo su punto.
Else like that, they played it slower and are heavily rewarded for it.
And not the craziest run I was maybe hoping for, but eventually we'll get there. I promise you across these next days as we take a look at things. And this was quite the hold. India as well, rising to the occasion, Mark, to get something done against Argentina.
Yeah, they entrenched in quite early here. We do see the zone of play here quite a lot, so I like the mindset that they were hoping and praying for the zone. Look, they defended well. They did lose a couple of numbers, but when it mattered, they got again another team that's climbing this mid-pack really well.
Yeah, definitely a decent rise. As you say, being there early and being able to hold that off.
A TGL lo termina matando la zona.
Having to make it across the road, Gibson, and try and do something as well. Unfortunate for them that Lou still alive alongside gods like Shen when it comes to this game.
Yeah, and I think that Lou's probably disappointed that he didn't do more damage from that position as well. But as Mark pointed out, Shen had 1 clip and he managed to take down both of those players as they lined up perfectly. A good game from Malaysia, but I gotta go back to it. How happy are you for India? Like, that hold on Argentina, phenomenal as they managed to wipe them out. And there's a huge Indian fan base of PUBG, so it's good for them to get to really put in some good work on game 4.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if I think back to maybe it wasn't last time, but like 2023, I think they got in that final like 14 points in 15 games, right? So already we're on a better trajectory for India compared to where they were, Matchroom, all things considered. So that's a good position for them, and likewise a great position for Japan, who you could see the initiative from them in the later stages of that game, right? Let's just constrict the remaining players. We know we've got control over this game, and let's exert our strength on that.
Boostic still walks away with man of the match, but you are dead on with it. Big game coming up for really India and Japan. Both India having to do a little bit of a firefight up against Denmark. It's going to make them feel a lot better, give them some better footing now the fact that they're realizing that they can step up against some of the best that are inside this lobby. But man, it just feels like Ukraine is inevitable. They are going to find
Pueden
that points
enfrentarse a algunos
every single
mejores que
game,
estos.
even if they don't make it to the late game.
Yeah, let's take a look at the points coming in, because I pointed out something funny to Masha
Y
in the
los
back
puntos no
whilst
nos
we were
ayudan
watching this
mucho.
game go down. But it is 19 points for Japan, very important. 18 points again
Vamos a tener que
for
empezar a hacer más
Denmark.
kill, muchacho.
And Mark, when you look at EMEA, especially the top 3 teams so far, halfway through that game, we had about 150 points between those 3 teams. And the rest of the lobby had about 170 points. That's
Bajamos un montón,
ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of farming of kills, but positioning, especially from Denmark, really, really well for them. Like, they look to try and control. They know when to be aggressive. They know when to dial it back down. And no wonder why they're sitting up on those 57 points. A good play from them. The level of consistency. Unable to get a win just yet, but they're getting pretty close.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. As for Argentina as well, 27 points. Neutral, 26 points as all of these players walking back to their spot, as we will have a break in a few moments' time. Not just yet, of course, though. But Gibson, this is a nice little fight back here from some of the teams that really needed those points. You don't want to be ending day number 1 like single digits at least. That would be terrifying.
Well, Japan had 1 point going into game 4. Like, they had just not played at all going into it. So they needed that win to give themselves confidence going into tomorrow. But I think if you think back to PNC, one really good day isn't really enough either. Remember France last year? Like, everyone was singing France's praises and how good they were on the first day of PNC. And then on the second day, they didn't even qualify for the finals. So I think for Japan and those teams at the bottom, like, yes, start getting points in, but it's 2 days' work that will qualify you through to these finals.
Yeah, got to agree. I mean, the small sample sizes of games, right? Even if you just look at the first 3 games where suddenly all these teams are doing so well, it's just a small sample size. And if if a team's doing bad in those 3 games, you can easily have a bounce back. One of those teams, Mark, I feel like could quite easily down the line beat Australia. Yeah, they didn't quite get the best of it here, all things considered. But you think about the names that are on that team, they're such veterans. So they potentially can bounce back no problem.
Yes, another all-star roster. And I think you're right. I think these teams, especially when we look at the sample size of data, I think it's all to do around with these zone shifts. We didn't quite get the chaotic rondo that I was kind of expecting coming into it, especially with the update to the land ratio. So I think teams are a little bit cautious about where they play and where they sort of position themselves into as we get further into the survival stage. A team, like you say, Team Australia, has the capabilities. They just needed to get that res on pretty quick, and they just left Shen waiting, and they didn't get the res on in time. Lou was a bit of a problem for them as well.
Yeah.
Those little mistakes, that team will iron them out pretty quickly.
It's tough to go up against someone like Shen, who's been a PGS MVP. But anyway, let's get to it. We're going to go for a break, and when we return, one final game here for PNC 2026, day number 1.
Yeah.
Knocked out.
Alguien consiguió una victoria, muchacho.
Knocked out.
Argentina sí o sí tiene que conseguir una victoria o aumentar un poco los puntos como para que no,
Hello everyone, welcome to another sit
para
down
que no le
game
saquen
time
ahí
with
el
Bella,
tercer
and
puesto.
today's special guest to
Tercero
open
o
up
cuarto puesto.
PNC is Team Finland.
Sí o
Hello
sí.
everybody.
Tiene que aguantar.
Hello. We are going to play Never Have I
Tiene que
Ever.
aguantar.
The goal is get rid of one teammate to fold all 5 fingers. So the one that folds all 5 fingers first, we have to give them a penalty. Should we do like a post-chicken ceremony, or what are you guys thinking?
Nothing.
Nothing. Maybe I should just designate like a TikTok dance for you to do.
No.
And you have to do one with me.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, shall we start? With you first, Corexy.
Never have I ever been to China.
Okay, coach down 1. All right.
Never have I ever broken any gaming gear.
Oh, okay. If you have broken gaming gear. Okay.
I don't think I've broken anything.
He's lying. Never have I ever had sushi.
Sushi? You've never had sushi?
I have. I don't.
You have not?
I'm allergic to fish.
Oh. Okay, my condolences.
Never have I ever been knocked out. Knocked out.
Knocked out?
Yeah, knocked out.
Who's been knocked out?
Me.
Oh. What?
Never have I ever drank alcohol.
That's a lie, right? That's not a lie?
That's not a lie. I mean, I tasted, but never drank. So you drank. Okay, never. I tasted. Never have I ever drank but like bottle of alcohol or something.
You have 1.
0.
0.
That's all I lost.
So I guess we have to have 2 penalties. That's
Push-up
fine.
challenge.
Decide. Do you guys want to do push-ups now, or do you want to do it like post-chicken?
Yeah.
Okay. remember, I will be hunting you guys down for it. All right, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you at the next one too. Bye.
Can you beat out the other challengers to secure that chicken dinner? Next up, we've made some changes to make smoke more realistic. As we mentioned in the 2026 roadmap, smoke is now interactive and can be displaced by explosions and other physical collisions, such as vehicles, care package landings, and more. No longer will smoke be the ultimate cover. You'll have to utilize strategy to make the most of it or fight against it. We've made a few balance changes this patch as well. The SLR has gotten some improvements. We've rebalanced the blue zone a bit, and healing items have seen some adjustments to weight and cast time. You can find out more about these changes in the patch notes. There's also a new rank season. Racing mode added to UGC mode. Intense Battle Royale can now take place on Haven, and more. So be sure to check out the patch notes for full details. Update 42.1 is here. So grab up some rebalanced gear, drop into a faster-paced rondo, and don't wait around for the smoke to clear. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
You like the gas on my spark. Stand out, stand out. I stand out, let's go. Just stand out, I gotta shine, 'cause I am a standout. Yeah, I gotta stand out, let's go. You know I'm a stand out. I stand out. Just stand out. 'Cause I am a standout. Yeah, I gotta stand.
One more game for day number 1 of the survival stage here for PNC 2026, and he always manages to somehow get on the camera. I can't believe it again here, but Denmark is looking feisty, looking hot. But there was a fight back in our previous game, of course, from the likes of Japan, the likes of India here to be able to make things work. Joining me, Gibson, Mark, as well as Matrim here to talk about these games coming up. And Mark, suffice to say, I'm really happy to see the fight back in the previous game from some of these teams on the lower side.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go with Martin's haircut. It's pretty fresh. The fight back is real, though, from those guys. And for me, look, it's an opportunity, best of 10, one good game, 5 a day, could potentially change things around. You do write off. We did say this in the pre-show. That is the kind of a team neutral as a team. Ukraine, obviously, already going for it. We're fighting for limited spots. I definitely feel like Turkey's in there now, and Ukraine 100%. So for Team Japan, that last game was huge for them. They got the zones, they controlled a win, and they got a handful of kills that puts them right up into them.
I got to agree. It's kind of a weird situation that now we're theorizing already, Gibson, after 4 out of the 10 games, that there's probably 5 spots left.
Yeah, and the funny thing to me is, like, Ukraine, you'd think they've locked their spot in, but I feel like Neutral haven't had the day they want to, so you expect they're going to activate at some point, but I still think Turkey are the big surprise. I picked them for fantasy, but I didn't expect them to be as good as they've been today so far.
Totally. Schiller obviously really being able to do a lot of damage here so far, and like even Code Marco, Metabay, and Celtic being able to get, even if it's just salvage points, match him at some moments, right? Turkey has looked really good so far.
They've been very consistent. Going all the way back into game number 1, they've been making it in later stages. Of course, having a couple of higher kill count games. We've been talking about the top 3 repeatedly, of course, because they've just been eating up the lion's share of points. We're talking about how they just pretty much had almost the rest of the lobby. But then we had a conversation moving into the last games where it was like consistency and the importance of that. But right now, 4th place is like what, 27, 28 points? Half what we're looking at is 3rd place. A game or 2 really can be enough to get you into that top 8 with how big of a sponge is happening at the top. So whenever you see something like what happened in that last game where Japan and India started finding some successes, that could be real determinant moving into day number 2.
Gosh, on day 1, I feel bad for anybody being put up against Beamy when it comes to the numbers, but it will be Code Marco's turn against him. I guess technically you could have picked like maybe a Ukraine player here to going up against him, but yeah, still though, Turkey has looked not too bad at all. Not too shabby keeping up with Denmark, all things considered, Mark, but Beamy's a bit of a phenom, and we already know that from Virtus Pro, their PGS wins, etc.
Yeah, it's just the ability to manage situations really well. No wonder why he's up here with the kills, damage is high as well. So he's definitely putting the shift in for the team. But I think overall, I don't take anything away from Denmark. They've had a hard fight. They've had to push their way in. They don't have the zones. So they've had to kind of make it their own. And no wonder that we see big kills coming out from BB.
It's exciting as well, though, to see Turkey do as well as they have so far, Gibson, considering that's our destination for PGC, right? The game is always, big there. We've got a lot of very active players there in EMEA as a whole. They've had a bit of a hard time in regionals as well as PGSs, but it's exciting to see them do well for this day number 1 so far.
I think it is, because we'll all agree it's been not the best performances by S2G over
diciendo que hay algunos equipos que tuvieron muchos problemas
so I think for them, having a strong PNC,
no los acompañó en la zona, no tenían cobertura.
They have. Like, I'm not saying they're going to go out and win this, go out and win PGSs, but it's something positive to give them something to work at going in towards PGC at the end of the year.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Any other teams here? Like when we cast our eyes further down, Matrim, who else are you looking at to be able to kind of either rise up in this game or rise up over the next day? Because they definitely need to be challenging.
There's 2 that I just keep my eyes on going like, I just want to hit him with the stick and be like, do something.
Okay.
Last game we started to see it a little bit. That's Australia. Australia has been involved in some stuff. Like we saw like mortars come up in game 1, but hasn't turned into a lot of points. Other side of that is Argentina. Argentina has been quietly holding down that like 4th and 5th place position, and they are being consistent, but we have a lobby that's been very top heavy with the top 3.
Argentina se metió discreto ahí al
in that category. But it feels like just hasn't synergized yet. And I'm waiting for that to happen. I feel like they have a decent chance on qualifying, but this is a squad that's not going to feel good about qualifying. They want to make a name. They want to show that they can compete against those top 3 because that gives you momentum. This is a weak lobby. Let's be honest. This is a weak lobby compared to what we're going to be looking at in the grand finals. You need to be competing against these top 3 if you want to have a chance when we get to the grand final.
And here's the overall leaderboard so far, with Argentina in a position where they're at number 4, not doing too bad, but not able to keep up with that top 3 so far. I've got to come to you, Mark, because in number 12...
Oh, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Hey, look, they will drop from 8 down to 12. That mid-pack is pretty tight. But look, going out pretty early in that game is not what you need. I think the team need to manage a best of 10, and you can throw away a game, maybe 2 at best, but you can't allow that cut-off line to run away. Norway playing a lot better at the moment than Team UK. I do want to see the boys come back, and it comes down to those placement points. Look at the difference between those 2 teams. Norway is up with 10 placement points. Team UK only able to find 2. So it's telling me they're unable to find that mid-game, an opportunity to springboard into a late game. That's what they need to fix. And are they making the right calls?
I'm scrolling up in our chat to look at people's fantasy teams because I feel like Matrim's might be the best so far. Or...
I have 4 in the top 5, so it's...
I mean, also, I'll be honest, Australia's holding me back a little bit. Australia's holding me back.
Yeah. Actually, no, now that you've all said that, I know one thing for sure. I'm doing the worst. So that's
change topic. Change topic, production. Don't bring up the graphic at any point. It's fine.
That's a
Chain's
problem.
scrolling
We're
right
moving
now.
on.
Let's see.
No, but yeah, so good stuff by you guys so far here, Mark. Especially considering that, you know, again, it seems like Denmark are looking fantastic here so far. Who else do you have, Mark?
UK is my worst. So I went Ukraine, UK, Argentina, Denmark. I knew Argentina was going to make the play against Team India. I'm quite surprised that they've kind of disengaged on that as well. Maybe like last game, they completely stopped it because Team India stopped that push into that
juega con equipo contra India sorprende bastante.
Going to be a strong contender, and I think everyone picked Ukraine, right? We always knew Ukraine's going to go through. It's only Team UK that's let me down. But as I say, they're allowed one game to potentially drop the ball. This last game, they have to finish day number 1 in the bank.
Gibson's is looking great as well. I mean, you had technically your wild card was Turkey, but I mean, they've just looked brilliant.
Yeah, they've been one of the better teams in it. Look, I thought that neutral would be a lot better than what they've been, just looking at the teams, but I had to go Argentina. Just knowing how they've been playing, knowing how many wins they have at PNC, they were a team that I feel like couldn't leave out.
Y Neutral también aguantó.
Comfortable going into the last game
Neutral
of the
tuvo
day.
una buena oportunidad, pero no aprovechó.
My wild cards in effect were
Están
Finland
defendiendo
and
los puntos.
Kazakhstan, and I think
Están ahí
both
nomás.
have floundered.
Dinamarca
I was going to ask.
lo pasó.
Dumb American over here, guys. I had bigger expectations for Finland. What the cha is going on?
Well, you remember that time that they got killed off by Denmark in that game on Tego? That's all I'm going to have. In fact, it wasn't even just Denmark, it was just Beamy, now that I think about it. As we take a look at their numbers against Ukraine. So very close head-to-head here between them, which really does kind of, I think, paint an amazing light on Denmark Matchroom, considering we all came in with insane expectations for Ukraine, but Denmark has been able to go blow for blow with them really strong.
I mean, I came in with some pretty big ones for Denmark as well. Words, man, they're hard sometimes. I mean, Gustav and Beamy just...
La diferencia que hay entre Finlandia y Dinamarca de
ridiculously strong squad, side by side. Man, that is...
Una locura.
That's brutal. Top 4%. Top 4% zero.
Es una locura, tío.
This is again. It's the Simpsons meme. Stop! They're already dead. This is.
I think they'll come through though. I think Finland will get to a top 8. Like,
Oh,
I know
did Martin request
a shaky
this?
start, but they're okay.
Bien,
Did
chicos.
Martin request
Bien,
this?
bien,
No,
bien,
get him
bien,
out
bien,
of here. He's not.
viene.
Somehow, even though all 4 of us will be on the desk here, his little head will pop out from one of the boxes. But how's he got here as well? What's going on? But no, yeah, tough times for Finland. I think you're right though. I think that there is definitely a better expectation of what they could do relative to what they have done so far. There's some great names on that roster.
Yeah, and I think we would have wanted them to do better, but it's early days.
Vamos,
There's still
chicos.
6 maps to go. Maybe they can get
Vamos con el
something
match
going in the
5.
last map of the day. But I've always said it, if you want to win, get a fin. I'm being made look a bit like an idiot so far today, though.
Well, when you probably set that in place, it was Jempty, Sampty, Mexi, and all those boys back in the day. But anyway, let's get to it. Game number 5 is our final game as we move on to Erangel once again. It's going to be me and Matchroom bringing you all the action here from the grassy pastures. Let's do it, mate.
All right, well, end of the day, there's a lot of storylines, of course, top 3 that we're going to be looking at, but the rest of the pack still has opportunity. Like we were talking about, 27 points right now, I think, is 4th place. You can get that in this game. There is the potential for it. We've been seeing squads do it time and time again, but you got to get the top 3 to falter. When you get a plane path that's pretty much straight across the map, anything can happen.
And India has already pivoted. You can see it on that west side, West Road coastline. They have gone elsewhere. They don't want to have to deal with Argentina being annoying across both yards as well as potential of Rozak. I think Argentina realizes that and is stretching very thin, knowing that India is not coming with them. So quite a shift considering what could have occurred in the middle of this map.
Catching a quick glimpse at what's going on with Japan in their landing. They're going to be pretty open around Gatka, nothing to be concerned about. Vehicles secured early for multiple players, so that way they can kind of continue the trash looting strategy that's going to be over there for the time being. Kazakhstan's going to be making the push down to Primorsk. They should be fine. Looks like they were trying to make sure that Upchin couldn't go around it, but Kazakhstan, India, Japan, great position early as this is going to be pretty much a quarry circle.
That also has the potential for a lot of what. Imagine if we just get a full Primorsk ending, because it's possible now. I mean,
I love Primorsk endings, man.
Yeah, they're fun. I mean, admittedly, there have to be a lot of south hard shifts, but you know.
Well, the way these competitive circles go, never. Not multiple hard shifts down in one specific direction. That never happens. I mean, even if we look over to where India's at, into the west, there's a lot of capabilities for some fun circles over there. If this leans more north, that's going to be the more sad section of it, as we're getting kind of a glimpse back on what was going on with the circles and rotations from the last game.
Yeah, as we have, of course, seeing how Japan was able to make this work on out, and I think they were afforded quite a lot of room early on, which was then able to parlay themselves into decent positions, decent spots later on. It wasn't like the heaviest kill game coming in from Japan here, but they knew how to control the space required on the west side to be able to continue those west shifts.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it right there. It's just about keeping enough control over in that western area because a lot of the clustering was happening more around the stadium positions, kind of what was happening with
Japón avanza, sabe que tiene la zona muy comprometida. Prefiere tomar alguna posición para tratar de aguantar y sumar los puntos. Acaba de ganar en la partida anterior, así que aprovechó entre Malasia y...
I mean, the fact that it's kind of that symbiotic relationship on some of those positions, right? You kind of like effectively
Esto fue la partida anterior, cayó Ucrania.
Time goes on with these kind of spots. It's not too bad at all. I guess it's like an unofficial agreement of like, okay, yeah, but if we peek over, we're going to end up causing damage to one another. But the fact that Japan was able to take out Ukraine over on the west side of that circle as well, very, very important stuff.
Este fue Dinamarca, India y Japón.
Just kind of the slow roll into the tail end. I mean, they had the numbers advantage. They knew who they lined up. This was just good scouting. They knew where the solo up for India was. They knew where Denmark was because they had already done the damage beforehand. So they sweep it in and just close it out very fast. And this is something a lot of squads that I would say that are newer to competitive or playing on higher ends can struggle with. So you can see that Japan understood how to counterflank around, get control points from every side angle, and just close it efficient.
Yeah, I know you're keen on Japan doing well. 20 points for them.
Argentina quedamos
not bad at all, but I know you would just, maybe like to have an event or two in Japan.
Esta partida es decisiva. Argentina tiene que salir puesto 4
I love Malaysia. I love Thailand. But, you know, there are other countries in the area that maybe we could dance out and visit a little bit, you know? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I like the fact that we're getting a splash of Turkey this year.
Yes, I mean, it feels like a really weird year for me, especially considering that normally there used to be a period of time where I would do so many events in Europe and that kind of local region, but now all of a sudden EWC is in Paris, PGC is in Turkey, which is, you know, half Asia, half Eurasia, so half Europe even, I should say. So it feels weird. I don't have to fly much at all. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Tell it to the guy that's awake at 2 o'clock in the morning and casting and still has to travel all around the... Oh, yeah.
Just move to Poland. It's a lovely place.
I'm getting tempted by the day. The way that these schedules work, man. I figure it's got to work out pretty well as it looks like we're starting to get set up with everything on the circle. This is over in Lippo, not inside the circle, really far over in the east where it's going to be Malaysia. Making their rotate, they're going to have Turkey in front of them. Back on the circle, we've got India, Kazakhstan, Chinese Taipei, Australia, Japan, as well as Argentina, all going for very prime positioning early. You can see trying to see if they can get the most out of this circle, get as much points as possible.
Yeah, I'm hoping for more from Malaysia, right? Shen, of course, they're highlighting him here. PGS MVP. That's a huge performance from him, looking as good as he did alongside what is effectively a revitalized 4AM. And as much as they found themselves in a position where they constantly were challenged for PGSs, a lot of that came off the back of Shen's performances, right? He just looked like an absolute monster. There's a reason I call him the Tasmanian Devil of PUBG. But alongside the R8 guys, it's got to form quicker, right? You've only got 2 days to get yourself into that final.
It's so weird because, like, we have seen, like, AJ accomplish some stuff, but you're right. It is mostly Malaysia on Shin's shoulders, and he's got to make big things happen. And sometimes you're just trying to force an evolution with the players around you when you're in a situation like that, right? Because that is one of the things about Nations Cup is you're playing with people outside the squads that you'd normally play with competitively. So you've got to try to force them to understand, like, we're doing this because of this, and it's kind of a hyperbolic time chamber for a couple of players. Can they get there fast enough? And with only 2 days of play, that's hard. So instead, it's a lot on Shin's shoulders. And you've got to get, like, that clutch that we saw against Australia. He had to do that. There was no other way around it. He needed to do it for the squad.
Most envied player, Hakatori.
Capaz que puedes estar en el podio para pasar, pero si un equipo te elimina, la partida depende de los puntos. Es lo que le pasó a Ucrania. Ucrania venía primero y lo terminó pasando Dinamarca. Turquía lo avanzó. Argentina se mantiene ahí entre el sexto y el cuarto puesto. Están pushando bien, Argentina va bien. Malasia, Dinamarca y Finlandia están jugando con zona. Turquía. Neutral viene empujando para el lado de Argentina.
The Chinese girls like him, like whenever we're in China, like they all think he's a really handsome guy. So there you go. A man of few words, though, apparently. Whenever we get these interviews going with him, but you know what? He lets his actions speak more than those words.
Old school stoicism I appreciate it. As our rotates are mostly finishing out, we do have the potential for a dust up over into the northeast where we've got Denmark, Malaysia, Finland all rotating around where Everest is going to be at. You can see that we do also have the United Kingdom over around Ice Chest needing to get into the circle, but they're going to have Turkey with a little bit of Norway in front of them. I think that should be fine, but I don't know. James, he's got goals, and it's going to be Caro Barco down. Turkey does get vengeance there.
You gave me that like a weather report. Turkey with a little bit of Norway ahead. and now a little bit of Norway is down, unfortunately, there for James. Unfortunate casualty to take as the rest of Norway is rotating on past. I don't really think they want much of this fight, though. Although that said, that's good shots here from 80 and Techers. They do take down Code Marco and Celtic, so maybe they can get the blue chip back on the board. The only problem is that's a very west circle shift onto this beach line. That's going to cause some problems here for these teams.
It's your time, Malaysia. Find you another boat. Big opportunities in front of you as Philippines looking down on Canada. Canada going for the early game aggressions are going to get punished for it yet again. Philippines high ground just too strong. 2 players already down. Can't quite get the third. There it goes. That is just Philippines on top.
That's a full wipe from Aya. 4 kills for him. Look at him, he's smiling, he loves it.
Neutral pasó Argentina.
Yes, what a hold.
Filipinas se pone en el cuarto puesto.
4th place
por
right now. In and amongst the big names so far. What a great showing from them so far here for day number 1. Of course, the rest of them do need to kind of coagulate and get back up top here. As a little bit of a retreat on out. They were holding a lot of space.
Vamos, Pipa, vamos, capitán.
Them. So Alec getting away from that, making sure they don't lose any casualties. This is great play from the Philippines.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good point to play inside the circle, especially given the way it's got so much water that's still going to be inside of it. Finland's coming in from the north. Do also want to note that Ukraine has managed to make coastfall over into the west. That means that they don't have anybody back behind them, and then they can start just doing their forward march whenever they want. Over into the east, it's a lot more clustered as it is going to be neutral. That's kind
Filipinas acaba de sacar el puesto a Argentina.
East gatekeeping what's going to be happening with Japan just in front of them is a couple of these tail end squads are going to find that yes, there's still territory to claim in the circle, but it's not going to be comfortable.
Australia adelanta.
I mean, again, an accelerated game state in these kinds of circles, and Ukraine has taken a very interesting position alongside the west coast as well. So that they've taken such a 2-2 that actually it stops teams rotating on around that beach side and really kind of cordons off any maneuvers from other teams from that spot. So kind of scary. The rest of these teams currently crashing in on the east side here. Denmark going up against the UK, who potentially had the chance of maybe some hot drops going on over in Rondo. Wasn't end up being the case here. Mixon takes some shots against the UK. Keta takes down Michael. So already Great Britain losing someone very early, but T-Bone responds. Not bad.
I mean, neutral just forced Great Britain over into this angle, and Denmark was trying to set up around it, but couldn't really get as much of it as they wanted to. It's getting a lot more dicey over into the northeast. As you can see, even Malaysia this might choose to go for a 3rd or 4th party, as there is just nowhere for Great Britain to go, just one up. And look, neutral still on the hunt. They're getting involved in this, now starting to take shots at both sides of it. I don't even know where UK can go.
De zona.
No, this is a tough one. Oh no, goodbye Great Britain. It's Okay, my heart bleeds. Anyway, moving on. We've got ourselves the opportunity here for as India does get that circle shift into what is an extremely large compound. I wouldn't even call it a compound, right? It's like very separated across one another. It can be difficult to defend, but there's a lot of open area around it. So if teams move in alongside you, you've got an opportunity, a window to shoot at them. But usually you would expect a team to move in on the south side of that compound and kind of exist alongside you.
Oh, yeah. The key feature on this one for me is the road that cuts right through the middle of it. There's a big drop off over into the east. A lot of teams are going to have a high ground advantage on people that are playing kind of swampy and field lands. It's going to be very hard to navigate, especially given the fact that the cluster into the northeast is the squad that's going to have to move again. So it's going to be Malaysia, neutral, Denmark, Finland, all coming into a much more entrenched positioning coming up from squads like Philippines, who we just saw pop off. Australia also right along that same line. But it is going to be this more center defense coming up for a lot of these teams. And Finland doesn't have any choices. They're just going to have to move this aggressively, and Philippines are just going to give it away. I don't mind this at all.
I agree. Still separated off. You've got to be very careful about that. Yes, you've been able to make one insane hold actually happen, but I don't know if two is going to be the case, especially since Finland's still very proficient at this gunplay, gunfights going down. Of course, you can't know that it's exactly Finland there in that moment, but Sata does realize that an entire fight has gone down there and is checking out some of them boxes along the way.
Yeah, Finland's got Corexi, I believe, up in the air right now, and Philippines saw that, pulled away, realizing the fact that all their positioning had been revealed. Neutral's got nowhere to go, so they've just got to cut the path, and they're going to be running right next to Malaysia. Are they even going to take any shots at it? It's going to be the Aussies on the other side. And shots come out. Shin's going to go down. Neutral coming in with big firepower.
Big slide on past, trying to find themselves a little bit of a spot as well, taking down Shen. Yeah, very important.
Australia también.
He is really a lot of the gun power here from Malaysia at the
moment. Flow.
Australia, though, does know exactly where they're moving on around and below them. As a doozy does get fall to Tiggleton of all people. So now, see if Australia can clean up a little bit more of this. But Malaysia's looking for revenge here.
deja mucho que decir también,
nades, gonna make it a little bit difficult for Lou. The curve around gonna make it a bit scarier, but everything's starting to calm down. There is still Luke 12 back behind this, but there's a new contender in Denmark. Late rotate coming up from them and Turkey both, and it looks like Denmark might be trying to pass in the same angle that we saw Neutral take. It's going to be Australia's Luke 12 already taking pot shots at them to maybe shoot them away, but Denmark's coming in full gusto. We're going to have a fourth party joining this real quick.
We may. Yes, we may here. Where are you going to actually go? Tiggleton does take down Mixon completely, but here comes Beanie and the boys looking to just rocket on through. I feel like there wasn't even really a shot taken on a drive-by. Gustav does finish off empty, though. See if, like, Levante and the boys can continue to survive on. Beamy's found himself a crater. Not bad at all. Use the car as cover on what would be the vulnerable side of that crater, considering it's on the side of a hill. Like that setup.
Gustav did have to rotate more to the north, so he's going to be trying to wrap around through more open territory in the fields, but the circle does pop to the south, make it even more complicated. Kazakhstan's going to find themselves in the center, Argentina up to the north, and then a lot of squads just playing right along the edge. Notice that Ukraine's gotten even closer. Already starting to take a couple of shots at the teams that are starting to rotate around them. Bit of a focus is also happening down to the south.
I like that thing said that Ukraine and Chinese Taipei fight was 90% imminent. Meanwhile, they're nowhere near each other. So there's maybe some bugs in the machine for sure, but anyway, it's got Neutral here. I'm burning out at the moment. This is a problem as well, as Lou unfortunately falls to his death. Tiggleton trying to do a little bit more damage against all of this, but I think for Neutral, they've got themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're on that road, yes, technically it would shelter you from some fights going down, but if there's teams right above you, it can only last so long.
Yeah, and most of their vehicles are probably just absolutely wrecked at this stage. You're going to be limping your way into the circle, just hoping the other squads move faster. Malaysia's getting some vision on Denmark. Doesn't quite get the knock, but AJ at least shoos him away from an angle of defense that he was wanting to try to hold. Finland's now going to be coming in a little bit more for center play, and it's going to be on to Kazakhstan to defend.
Marco, not bad things against Scav at the moment on the other side of this here, as Vastori tries to... no, I can't tell if he got run over there, but it will be Sata that actually finished him off. Hobber trying to deal with a little bit of this aggression coming out from Finland at the moment, shooting through some of this foliage as well. Simply confined with the barrel. A little bit blow for blow at the moment. Not really a full shutdown, but on the other side of things, Neutral is gone.
Yeah, that's no big surprise. A couple of squads just finding angles onto him. Finland and Kazakhstan is kind of contained. They're in their own little bowl right now, so this is their own fighting arena, but Australia's going to be getting closer and closer by the second. Chinese Taipei down to the south might get some vision on it, but you can see that this is a pretty vertical section leading down into the more defended position that Kazakhstan's playing. With all of the smokes down, it's kind of created its own separation to where Kazakhstan doesn't want to go back up into Finland's vision because they're afraid of where Australia's going to be playing from. Kind of the side angles of approach.
Yeah, there's moments where you need to have other teams kind of firing over across what you and then have basically having them cover you.
Están pushando Argentina, Filipina está pushando Argentina. Bien pipa, vamos. Vamos pipa.
Allen Bots as well.
Vamos pipa, vamos pipa.
Can get done, trying to get into their shack, knowing that on this north side it will give them a bit of a reprieve from some of the firefights that are going down. They see in the distance as well. Philippines still on the war path. I feel like Philippines is always fighting, and Beamy's got something to say about that.
He just finds the way to get the perfect angle onto it. And the Philippines, who are having such a great start, suddenly find themselves in a ton of trouble. Argentina going to be trying to keep them out and reclaim that 4th place position now that neutral has usurped it into 5th place. But just 1 point between them all. Ukraine starting to come live over in the west. India right next to it as well. What are you even going to do? Is now Malaysia's just running down right in front of everybody. They're just trying to send it, and the circle pops yet again down to the south.
Not bad, not bad. At the same time, though, that road dividing this circle is going to be a problem later on down the line. Malaysia's going to make a move, but it's a bit of a desperate one. As you can see them here now moving in alongside Turkey, who does get a bit of a run over, but he is shut down. Crawl back, get that res off. The shots are coming in, and it's not quick enough on the move. That's a shame there for Code Marco.
That's pretty harsh. Okay, so this field is kind of low ground positioning, giving them more higher position Chinese Taipei is playing. It's also a very wide, flat section that doesn't have a lot in it. So those couple of dips that Turkey was playing gave them so much control over the territory next to them, and what's kind of holding back Ukraine. Now Ukraine might start getting a couple of crazy ideas, but it's going to be more crazy ideas first coming up from India. Doesn't have too many choices except for pushing directly into Ukraine.
Ucrania tiene los 4 jugadores, Turquía tiene 3 jugadores, Argentina tiene 3 jugadores, Japón sigue con los 4, igual que Australia.
To then try and cross that road into the swamp area, a little bit further into another swamp area, of course. Kazakhstan knows that there potentially will be some movement going on there.
Quiere pushar a Finlandia.
Well, we'll lay low. We'll wait and see what goes on here.
Finlandia está acorralado.
Hey, they're center of the circle, man. They're feeling good right now. They're center of the circle in the center of the circle. So life is good enough as Norway looks like they're trying to creep in on one side of it. Kazakhstan realizing that they're starting to become a little bit more of a focal point from those squads over into the east, and what was providing them safety in their little mini arena a while ago is going to be potentially its own problem, as everybody's going to be running down into it for cover.
Sas trying to get some information. No moving going on there against Kazakhstan so far.
Dinamarca sigue peleando el
podio,
looking
the way of Japan, knowing that they're eventually Japan needs to move, but so do they. So I think they're biding their time, waiting for Japan to make that move, try and take those shots, and then maybe backfilling, crossing the road and trying to enter their position as well. That being said, though, Japan's already got to cover. So Australia's missed their opportunity here to be able to get any knocks on them. That means that they're going to have to move on just the direct east side, because I don't think they can backfill that now.
This is just very well played from Japan. They read how the cover was going to present for them, knew the fact that they could get away from Australia, creeping forward as they go. Norway's been a lot more hot and heavy, having to just kind of run around back behind all of it, but Aitzi's going to go down. Defense for Australia on the other side quite strong, but the Aussies still got to get in this circle.
Dinamarca todavía está
with 3 at the moment for Australia, trying to pull them up by the bootstraps.
Ucrania, se está acercando Ucrania a Dinamarca.
Completely dismantle India on that northern side. I think if you're India, I think you're cowering in your boots as well. Just try and stay away from Ukraine as long as possible. See if you can maybe heal in the blue. I don't know. Beamy's doing just that, just in true blue fashion. But India's gone, dying off to the blue.
Big push for Australia. If they can get the knocks onto Japan, this could be massive for them. But Kazakhstan now starting to do some defense of territory. It was going to be very close. So Australia's position that they were playing for, more vulnerable than they thought from a more active Kazakhstan. Circles popped, and it is very favorable to Turkey's position as well as Ukraine, which is a big problem for everybody else. Remember, we still have the road that cuts through and that big drop-off into the eastern section. So everybody on high ground is going to be fighting amongst themselves while everybody else is fighting in the lower section.
Argentina también está apretando a Japón.
Like, the fact that, as you say, that road intersects still means that there is going to be a real big problem later on in this game for sure. That said, though, are we on a path for Ukraine 3 wins on the day? It might be the case here if they're able to continue to control that western side. Tiggleton here, though, pushing up against Japan. Finally, they do end up taking this fight. Monty also take down Sunny side up. Can they just keep sweeping? Yes, they can. Japan dismantled just like that.
But it's not done for the Aussies. They still got to walk forward. Argentina on one side, Kazakhstan on the other, back into the more, I guess, cratery section of these fields. Turkey's still just trying to keep defense from Ukraine, and if they can keep it contained long enough, the rest of the lobby will appreciate it. Norway just kind of roams right in, and that is going to be a big distraction for Ukraine. Do they now go after the solo that is repositioned, keep themselves safe from their backsides, or do they focus in on Turkey? Well, now Australia is getting more mobile, and they are going to be going to the Kazakhstan side.
And they're trying for it. Let's big push up here, and I am 5-0 might go as quickly as that as well. So Flood, good job by him. That's 8 kills for Australia.
Vamos,
you
cuarto
ask
puesto,
him
dale.
for the
Sacamos a Filipinas,
Australia
dale.
fight back. Well, here we are. Here, as they've got themselves plenty of kills to boot. Not a bad spot to play as well. I think the next problem that will occur is the fact that Chinese Taipei, just on the south side across the ridgeline. Technically, Finland is alive as well, in between them. I think that they'll stay as low as possible, though, until the very last minute.
This is the lowest profile squad by far. I mean, Finland has just been kind of hunkered down inside that crater for the longest time. I mean, we've got stats for like how much movement somebody's done. I want to see how low a team has been for. Maybe Turkey might be able to fight them, given the fact that they've been having to deal with Ukraine for so long. They've had to just kind of hang out on their bellies for a bit. But I agree. Chinese Taipei has got to make some type of move here.
What do you call that? The conga stat? The conga line stat? Is that?
Belly time. I don't even care, dude. Let's call it something simple.
Puede ser para cualquiera, chico. Es para cualquiera.
See now if they can do anything about it. As now we've got Ukraine here, still looking the way of Chinese Taipei. That is across the circle. Maybe the AI was right, but yeah, they were quite far away from each other before all of this. Now, having hunkered down on this circle, at least it's across the way. As even mortar shots coming in.
Bien King ahí aprovechando ese mortero.
This is on the Finland, maybe Australia. I think that the line might be a little bit more onto Australia.
En Argentina, Argentina lo está intimidando a Australia.
Should be fine. But I like that Argentina realizes the threats and approach, because the way that this hillside kind of wraps,
no sabe qué hacer.
you have to assume that whoever's going to be winning this low ground firefight is going to be the squad.
Argentina va a tener que empezar adelantada.
New circle pops, and yep, Argentina's going to have to make their way down a little bit more to the south, and Ukraine still just got to figure out how to deal with these craters in front of them in Turkey.
Yeah.
Los muchachos de Argentina, vamos.
Yeah, they're still there. I was wondering how much util they had available to them. That's really kind of the determining factor in a moment like this, right? Okay, you know that there's craters in front of you and you know where players are, but if you don't have nades to get rid of them almost instantly, basically, what can you actually do about it? Maybe they're just, you know, being very reserved about any usage of it and are holding on to it, but regardless of the fact, it feels like almost certain kills if you're able to identify where they are.
Chico, aguanten,
I'm just waiting for Chinese Taipei to kind of like down into this. They can't really do it too much because Ukraine is doing some shots across the circle at them, but that has forced them to play more onto this eastern side of it. And that's going to leave Finland extremely vulnerable whenever Chinese Taipei does this. Like, they have to walk this angle. There's going to be a point where there's no safety to be had from it. So at what point does Finland choose to strike, or are they just going to play this as fast as possible and eventually just get taken down?
It's definitely a slow roll. I mean, there's technically a world where Australia doesn't actually even know that they're there. It's unlikely, but they came along after the fight had gone down prior between other teams, and those other teams are gone now, who had information and a bead on where exactly where they were. So could be laying low. No, I mean, that nade is going all the way over towards Chinese Taipei. It's a bit of a dicey situation here.
Yeah, if Australia just walks up this hillside and they don't have a read on where Finland's going to be playing at, Finland can absolutely ruin them. And we saw that Finland is just listening to every single footstep around. Argentina on the other side of it, making this a lot more dastardly. In a rotate coming up from Australia. Turkey now starting to get the barrage. Dropped right on top of him. The car as well, but narrowly survives.
So close, Metabase surviving just with a sliver of health. Is going to go for a heal straight away. But those nades coming forward means that Turkey now knows that there is danger afoot very soon. I think that technically the Ukraine boys do actually have a little bit more util, but they don't want to expend so much as to not have any going into the later stages of this game. Is now Turkey still holding on down. Chinese Taipei slow rolling it as well. It has been an agonizing pace here for these final moments, but I think it's just because all these teams know exactly what's at stake.
Okay, Australia is starting to get more focused in the Argentina line, and now it is going to be Ukraine making the push on top of Turkey. This is going to be a dangerous step down, and that is going to be Hakatori down right on the cusp of positioning on the crater. Just enough with the way that the circle is set. Ukraine still has to move, but let's not forget there's a player for Norway over here that could creep up and be a third party at the worst time for Ukraine.
Yeah, can Turkey completely scupper any potential strength that Ukraine would have had? It's looking like it right now, as Hakatori being down. There was just no sound cues against Medabay there. Like, the smoke was down. That would, even if he was moving, that would hide some of it. And then now, difficult times here to be able to make something work. Was it Celtic? It might have been Celtic. Anyway, regardless, no sound cues against Turkey. And now, Chinese Taipei feels like they have to make a move. Look how flat this area is in the middle, though. Oh.
I mean, this is the time to do it with Ukraine being a bit more distracted. Finland comes along. Corexi gets down too. The Aussies with their focus on Argentina are punished. Here comes Chinese Taipei. They've realized, and it is now just Corexi looking back up. He gets another one. Can he make it to safety? Oh, finally goes down.
What a heartbreaker for Australia, not realizing what was going down here. Causing problems. And now here Turkey pops up once again here against Ukraine. One already knocked. Busic, though, doing tons of damage against them alongside Fairist. Schiller finally gets rid of Tekkas on the backside of it here. Chinese Taipei might have a huge lifeline by which to finish off this game here. Now that Ukraine is taking casualties alongside Turkey.
They've got a ridgeline for some form of cover to play, a rock that they've already gotten control over, already gone up right next to the crate as well, which gives you a little bit more to work with as well as cover. Chila's going to be up right next to Ukraine to focus on him, but 3 players up for Ukraine. This is a squad that can frag out. So Chinese Taipei has to hit their shots. Any peaks will get punished, and it is all going to come down to the aim from Ukraine, and can it be enough?
Yeah, this is the problem, right? Because even if, like, let's just theorize for a second that the names were changed on these teams. If this is Na'Vi, a lot of people will put stock in them to still maybe win this game, even though they're in a really, really bad position here against where Chinese Taipei is set up. And of course, Schiller, the absolute assassin of Turkey, is still alive, but it's not going to be enough here. He gets put down now. And the rest of Ukraine. But the problem is, Chinese Taipei surely knows exactly where they're moving. Yes, they do. But Diffex starts things off with the M249. He's huge from Diffex.
Okay, that was the point man up in front. That's way more space. And look at Ukraine. They realize that they've got this ridgeline that they can now play on the counter side. The center dot is in the middle of this road, so it's going to be jockeying for position between the two. But Ukraine feels like they've got so much control over this angle, and they have been locked into position. They are pissed.
The confidence is overflowing now from Ukraine, and not only do they weather the storm on that west side, they flexed out. Chen is down as well. It's all on Munland to try and do something here. Chinese Taipei, a good rally back in this game, a good rally back in the fight, but it does not matter when Ukraine looks this crazy. 3 wins on the day here at PNC 2026. What a performance from them coming out. That is insane.
Ukraine just walked through an open road, no cover, and took the fight. These guys are playing dominant style. Let's tag back in Gibson and Mark. Gibson, what you think?
Oh man, that was insane from Ukraine. That initial knock in that fight with Chinese Taipei just opened up the door and they got the job done. But Mark, again, there was a huge fight between Ukraine and Turkey that could have literally went the other way. But again, Turkey hanging in to get another top 3.
Defendimos el cuarto puesto.
Celtic played really well. He was right underneath most of them, right? And he kind of got that exchange really quickly. Good play, but yeah, it could have gone either way.
Defendimos el cuarto puesto. Bien.
3 wins from Ukraine. We have to tap them out.
Filipina que tenía ahí el cuarto puesto.
I mean, that's the crazy thing, right? As much as Hakatori goes down almost for free there
había
against
pasado
Sergei
neutral
to start
también.
things off, Matrim, the problem is that the rest of this team is also super heavy on the frags. And
Bien ahí el Pipa
if this had have happened in previous iterations of what was then Na'Vi, or, you know, in normal tournaments Na'Vi, people would have been like, okay, well, Hakatori's down, it's not going to work out. But not at all the case in 2026.
Well, it took so much for Ukraine to even take control over that circle for so long.
Yeah.
Turkey just refused to go down, and that forced Ukraine into a lot more of a defensive position. They took this positioning because they wanted to get control over territory and then be able to use the field back behind them as cover so that way they can assault the road. But Turkey just survived for so long, it let everything kind of firefight over into the east, while it is, yes, Ukraine got a lion's share of their kills on that early defense in the west.
Really got a feel for Australia though there, Gibson, considering that it felt like they just didn't have full info on what was an imminent danger there.
Well, it looked at one point like they knew because they were tossing nades into it and they just ignored Finland, who, let's be real, I think for what, 12 minutes of that game they just sat prone in a circle waiting for the points to come their way, and Corexi almost pulled off a hell of a play. Like, he got a couple of knocks and then he got a couple more. Like, he was one knock away from another squad wipe. So if he can bring that into tomorrow, maybe Finland can make a climb. But again, the other 4 maps were not great for them.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. The other 3 alongside Curexi here, they've played with each other for a long time and also looked really good in PEC, Mark, but it really has not materialized today.
No, they've been chasing zones like a lot of these teams, unfortunately for them with the shift. But look, that nearly was a sign of magic, and you don't want to take anything away from Team Australia because they looked outstanding to that point, but they did not have the information at all.
Here we have, once again, Ferris, Diffex, Boostic, and Hakatori. Hakatori goes down early, but it doesn't matter. Here's the problem. Diffex, heavy fragger. Boostic, heavy fragger. Ferris, oftentimes, he is the IGL, but guess what? In 2026, he's also heavy fragger, match him, so it just never stops for this roster.
Who needs IGLs? Just walk a direction when you can kill a lobby and everything will be fine. And Ukraine, that's what it pretty much came down to. I don't usually like to call, okay, they're definitely going to win this one. But the moment that Ukraine took down Turkey, you could feel the momentum shift and the frustration just pop off from Ukraine. And they're like, no, everything now dies. The confidence of running into the street to take on somebody behind a rock, that is just nuts.
But there's got to be some onus on Chinese Taipei here to say, okay, well, they're eliminating one another over on this west side, Mark. We've got to do something about it. And they're just holding spots and really kind of just giving a lot of 1v1s, honestly, to Ukraine in those months, who finishes on 76 points on the day.
I think it's down to Finland, though. I think that really put kind of the anchor on for Chinese Taipei. They thought they were controlling that side. They saw Australia going down. They saw the fight, and we saw them play forward. They just were not ready for Corexi there. That's what stopped them. And from that point, they were unable to build the momentum. And when you get an opening, a tiny opening, Ukraine are going to take advantage.
Can I just add to that? Oh, yeah. Can I just add to that too? Like, you left a player with level 3 gear and he got deleted.
First time around, day 1 finished and on number 1. Well, how was it? Did it go any way that you expected, or was it just easy?
I would say like we was expecting these results. We was expecting that it was like killing everyone in the lobby, and we was pretty comfortable from the beginning and even before the tournament. So basically, like everything how it was expected, it was how it was expected.
It was good. It was just good and simple. Well, I mean, that basically also has to do with the chemistry that you have with your teammates, right? Back when reunited with the Na'Vi boys, along with your coach as well. How has that been? It's just fun playing like old times, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's fun to play with like old teammates, especially like because they also was good friends with some of them. So yeah, I mean it's good to back like on the team. Also, it's good to back on the LAN because last year for me was not as I expected it to be, and my team was not quite. I didn't feel as confident as I feel now, I would say.
I mean, do you think that you guys maybe have, I guess, kind of grown individually as well to put on such a fantastic performance today then?
I mean, for sure, like every player like grown a lot. Like, I mean, I can see the difference between like who I was playing in 2024 and who I'm playing with now. Like, it's completely different person.
We need to be able to hear you.
Oh, not only in the game, but also in life. So yeah.
That's amazing. And well, I guess day 1 done, right? Next we have day 2, and it looks like you'll be having a very comfortable day. While we're at it, can we get a little bit of a spoiler? How many kills for day 2 from Team Ukraine?
I actually expect like a little bit more than today because, to be honest, like I thought we would win a little bit more and get a little bit more points. And third game on Taigo was a little bit disappointing. I was expecting him to play a little bit better, and one mistake literally like broke all the game plan. So
Y
I hope tomorrow will
Ucrania,
be much better day.
la verdad que sorprendió,
but still thinking that you have
Sorprendió un
room for
montón,
improvement. Well, all right, thank you, Diffix, for the interview, and that is all from him, but I will be back in a bit, and Diffix said no bye, no waving is cool, so let's just say bye together. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, almost, Bella. You almost got it. And also, well done for giving, a cheeky little poke at that microphone. But one thing's that crazy about that, Ukraine thinking that they might be able to get even more on the board considering what they were able to do today. Which, by the way, again, to reiterate, 3 chicken dinners on the day is absolutely nuts stuff from them so far. So I wonder who we're going to hear from next here from all of these interviews, because we've got a lot to be able to hear from in terms of what these teams have been able to do. Maybe a Denmark or something like that might be interesting, but I'm sure Bella's got a bead on where that's going to go to next.
Ahí viene
Who
Shisha.
knows though? Who knows?
Ahí viene
Because-
Shisha.
No, please, no.
Shisha de Ucrania.
No.
Shisha de Turquía, perdón. Shisha de Turquía. Shisha de Turquía.
Turkey is Sheila and our lovely translator Jaydan. Well, first day in PNC looking better than last year. What a game from you, especially on Tego as well. You guys got 17 kills and you alone 6 kills. What has enabled for you guys to put on such a fantastic performance today?
Bugün iletişimimizi olabildiğince güzel tutmaya çalıştık. Diğer takım arkadaşlarım zaten aynı takımda oynuyordu ve ben de onlara ayak uydurmaya çalıştım. Kimyamız uyuştu ve güzel puanlar çektik.
La 17 baja.
친구들과 같이 합이 잘 맞아서 같이 이제 전략을 세워서 같이 노력하고 성공했던 것 같습니다.
I mean, it was basically a game of playing with friends, and the calls that we made in game worked out seamlessly, and I think that's why we were able to enjoy the day and end with good results. Yeah, speaking of which, I noticed that you guys have very good chemistry. I wanted to hear more about the newest members, Celtic and Metabay. Am I saying that correct?
Yeah, though.
Metabay. Well, can you tell us about the chemistry, what they bring, and what's that been like?
Kendileri zaten daha önceden aynı takımda oynuyorlardı. Güzel oyuncular kendileri. Güzel uyum sağladılar. Ben de onlara ayak uydurunca güzel bir performans sergiledik.
다른 투명 선수가 이미 같은 팀의 선수이거든요. 그래서 저도 그분들과 같이 전략을 세워서 그분들과 같이 합을 맞아서 그분들 따라서 그냥 같이 했었던 거라서 아마 성공했던 것 같다라고 합니다.
Wow. Oh, right. Okay, you got that perfect Korean from Sheila, because you're basically Korean, right? Well, Sheila just shared that having the same players from the same team has definitely helped us to bring and blend the synergy on the server, and it definitely showed because we were very, very pleasantly surprised with how Team Turkey played today. Well, any expectations from you for day 2 of survival stage then?
İkinci günde çok güzel bir oyun sergilemeyi düşünüyoruz. Yaptığımız illaki ufak tefek hatalar vardı. Onları kapatıp ikinci günde çok daha güzel bir performans sergileyeceğimizi düşünüyorum.
오늘 작은 실수를 조금 했던 것 같은데 그 다음 이제 경기에서도 잘 할 거라고 믿다고 합니다.
Well, they're going to go over the little mistakes that they've made today, do the VOD review, and come back stronger tomorrow. Am I right? All right. Well, thank you, Sheila and Jaydan, for the interview. And that is all from us here for day 1 survival stage here at PNC 2026. But we're going to be back tomorrow for day 2. Same time, same place. You know where to find us. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Sheila.
Turquía eso no, Turquía perdió.
I can't keep trolling Bella with these interviews. I'm just like, say it on your essay, say it. But yeah, no, that's good stuff there coming out from Bella, as well as hearing from Sheila as well, who was just a tornado throughout today here, Gibson. Fair to say, he looked fantastic for Turkey.
Yeah, you know when you speak to a player and they say, what's your objective? Oh, we're going to go do this, we're going to do that. And you're like, yep, well, every player's going to say that. Well, he backed it up. He was so impressive today. I think him and Code Marco were the driving force between a lot of the points they were able to get. And you know what? If they keep that going, well, with the points they have now, they will be a shoo-in to play at the weekend. But the question is, once you get USA, once you get like Vietnam, China, Korea, it's not going to be as easy for them to get into the top 4 consistently.
No, definitely not. Mark, I guess we're close to wrapping, so I'll take some final thoughts. I'll start with Mr. Mark Powers. What do you think about today?
Good day. 5 games, obviously 5 more to go. No surprise from Team Ukraine. Bit shocked about Team UK. They need to come back and do it within 5 games. The biggest one for me actually is Team Neutral. Definitely thought they'd be higher up the leaderboard, so a complete reset for them. Doesn't seem like it's synergizing. So
está explicando algunas reflexiones finales de lo que él vio.
Well, I'm being told we have to wait a bit, so we're not really wrapping things up. So what I'll do, since that was Mark's final thought, if we could just like turn his camera off. and then we'll just no. Come on.
I was gonna say, wait, we can do that. We can just finish here, and I can go grab some tea.
But Matrim, yeah, I think very impressive results overall by EMEA specifically, considering how much of a kind of lead that they put on the rest of the lobby. Tomorrow's going to be tough for these teams where, again, we feel like it's probably fighting for 5 spots, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of big opportunities for you there. Whenever I'm looking at it, it feels like Argentina, Aussies in the firefight trying to just creep up back behind it. But we are, again, looking at about 30-ish points right now for 5 games. That is extremely doable for anybody to just jump up and try to take that. Sure, competing against the top 3 right now is going to be very difficult. If you can game plan, reset, try to figure out what was bad in rotations or anything else like that, there is still a world for everybody. Yes, even you, Canada, there is a world where maybe you can manage to make a way to qualify.
Well, I think like half
did that.
Look, I'm an American. I'm like the American here. I can call it. Canada.
Yes,
I love
the top
you.
hat of America. Yes, you claim ownership.
I don't know what's going on.
I think that it's interesting, right? Because for Canada, I think that we don't need to make any bones about it. Like there's some of their players are just not as active currently, so it's always going to be difficult for them, Gibson, coming into today's performance. But at least with soaking up of points at the top, it does mean that cutoff point, as Matrim is alluding to here, will be a lot lower compared to some other scenarios, I would say.
I think so, especially if those teams go into tomorrow in the same form today. But you're right, Canada have a lot of work to do. They don't really have any representatives at PGC or PGSs so far. Like K-Mine's only really getting back into the game this year after a long time off. So they look really rusty and they're losing a lot of fights that they shouldn't. But I'm more surprised about Team UK, right? Like Great Britain,
bueno, chicos,
they're on the wrong side of the leaderboard. They're getting obliterated in positions they really shouldn't. At one point, Mark was screaming like, T-Bone, why are you running back into the fight when all of your teammates have just been knocked? Like, I would have real concerns about them getting into the final now if they play anywhere near today like they did tomorrow like they did today.
I completely agree. And a second final thoughts before we wrap up from Mark Power, specifically about Great Britain.
5 games, boys. We've got this. We're champions. No, we've got to think about they're getting caught early, and that's the problem. Look at the placement points; they're not getting placement points, so they need to work on trying to find a way out of the early game. It felt like a lot of teams might be hunting them down, or are they pushing the pressure into areas they shouldn't do?
El hat-trick que se llevó Dinamarca también.
All right, and I'm calling it there. That's done. We are done here for day number 1 of PNC 2026. A great day for sure, though. Very, very varied, aside from the one constant of Ukraine at the top, with 3 chicken dinners on the day here for our first day of survival stage. Tomorrow we're back, same time, same place. That does it for us here. We'll see you tomorrow for more PNC action.
Bien, chicos, esto fue la PNC 2026 de PUBG. Así que vamos a estar también mañana, vamos a estar con la segunda ronda de la PNC de PUBG el 2026, así que no olvides suscribirte, vamos a estar acá alentando a la selección argentina. Así que nada, chicos, nos vemos. Saludos. Esto es PNC 2026 de PUBG.
time. You ain't gotta wait.